There's a trick to it. I would feel like maybe on the yeah, I do it for work when we have like exhibitions.
Okay, so this might not be on. Right. Could you?
I think it's okay. No, it's still feeling that. So that's completely muted. As in the sound. I think it's fine now. And now I think maybe you're able to unmute the Zoom call.
Yeah. Does it work now?
No, now it's going to feed back.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe we keep that Zoom mute because this is where the live stream is from.
okay.
And then we keep it when we have participants speaking, which should be after 3.
Do you want to try now?
Hello. Hi.
It's going back between the.
Okay, so you won that one.
I'm not sure. I think now it's okay. Test 1 2 1 2 testing 1 2. Test 1 2. If you someone's here.
Hi, can you hear me there?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So unfortunately, the speakers and the microphone creates feedback. Yeah.
I accept my fate. Visa rejects me again. Partition reduced to a bedtime story. One woman jumps into a bell. One man saw it as king. We read history. We learn nothing.
I heard the voices wandering the wave in search of the one who seeks, and there a vision was conceived. Turn inward to see the first light of day through the leaves of a loped tree.
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Rockpod's Creative Thought and Expression, hosted by Rawanee. This episode contains a selection of decolonization poetry that we have extracted from a recording of an event that we held in collaboration with SOAS, University of London, in May 2023.
My name is Shayam Mirza, and I'm going to be citing key points inspired by today's subject, which is decolonization of thought and this I take inspiration from my roots, speaking roots, my stories of partition that I heard from my grandparents, and sociologically looking at how it's colonization basically sort of rooted itself in our national psyche, our behaviors, and I've used some examples, some metaphors, points to really touch on subjects such as our conditioning, our cross-border relations, the diaspora living abroad, so forth. So I'm going to start with the first point that sort of juxtaposes Jasmine living in London, her immediate environment, and Yasmin who's living in Ankara Sahib, and her challenges based on her environment. Two sides of the same coin. Jasmine is aware of her effect on men. Surface intelligence, London Underground, traveling from one agency to the next, clinging on to her portfolio, a recent photo shoot, just another day on the tube, impassive faces, colder than the weather, Waterloo, Canary Wharf, iPods help kill the time, go now, this is your stop. Posters on the floor, urging you to save the environment. But there are bigger issues afoot, like paying the rent, or getting a textbook tan. Never been outside this island. Brexit played a hand. You're saving up for a spiritual journey, a remote retreat in incredible India. Free your worldly chakras, cleanse your soul in Beti Ganga. You feel like a fortune, but you feel like loose change, a coin in constant circulation, totally spent. Yasmin cannot recall where she's been. Almost sunset in Ankara Sahib. The river Ravi sounds like a distant dream. Perhaps tomorrow she'd take a tonga to buy her favorite skin whitening cream. A room with no window, a house but not a home. No one to call on her door. Not even the local Majnu who can be heard reciting poetry under a shisham tree. His hands calloused from agriculture, his words sacred like his sorrow. She said a prayer at a local shrine, lights incense at the feet of her departed ones, with a hint of loss, a touch of envy. Soon the stars will be out, mocking her from above. No seeds to sprout and nurture precious love. Just how deep does the Ravi run? Maybe tomorrow she'll fill the nerve to get it done. Another Jacob, another Yaqub, for every Aaron, Harun, two lines drawn apart, destined to join, two sides of the same coin. My next poem is called History Has a Way of Making Us Pay, and I've used a metaphor of Visa and MasterCard to really talk about some of our issues that are ongoing with India and doesn't look like it's going to stop anytime soon. So, history has a way of making us pay. In India, they don't accept Visa, MasterCard only. Acceptance is lower, merchants have a clear preference. Credit history is poor. We were PayPals once, separated only by non-invasive neighboring walls. Instead of border fences, our narrative linear, so much easier. Not mangled up like steel mesh wire. Traditions send one to their grave, another to the fire. History has a way of making us pay. In India, they don't accept visa. I've been everywhere from Sudan to Indonesia, but I can't visit my father's birthplace, my great grandfather's resting place, my mother's beloved town, my grandmother's old stomping ground. Lucknow is a dream to me now. Delhi does not feed my belly. One general turns to whiskey, another to jelly. History has a way of making us pay. In Pakistan, we don't accept visa, MasterCard only. But the masters are changing faster than the chatter on the servants' lips. Boots on the ground, uniforms but no uniformity, unity of a unique variety. Elective officials, selective memory. On 14th August, everyone's a Pakistani. The principles of economics are fine. To prosper, you need an enemy. I come home with stamped passports only to see the breaking news on TV. The Indian Parliament is under attack by Lashkars of our own making. Now I Google Hawa Mahal in Jaipur while you YouTube Lahore from Amritsar. I accept my fate. Visa rejects me again. Partition reduced to a bedtime story. One woman jumps into a well. One man is sworn in as king. We read history. We learn nothing. My next poem is called An Imperial Breakup, where I've used the concept of a breakup as a metaphor to talk about uh, our colonial masters having left us back in 1947. So there's a lot of analogy there. So she left me with the gift of tea, a spoonful of self-pity, heavily conflicted, caffeine addicted. I sip my Earl Grey, thinking of her charming ways. Her regal air, I'm nobody to care. But just for that one moment, fleeting moment,
So you
she had me dreaming. Worse, hoping.
screen.
She validated me,
No, not entire
indicated me
screen
of
window.
my inherent crimes, my innate defects,
Which
I
one do
go.
we?
my
I think go for
illness
entire
made
screen
from centuries of
and then
duress.
press share.
She ruled my world, my
And then
kingdoms on dry land
now
and
can you
sea.
see it?
Already ruthless in her flawless
Thank you.
victories. She left me with the gift of cricket, taught me that whatever is broken can be fixed, even test matched. Left me with precision, but her wonders of construction eventually fell to ruin. Now her shadow follows me from east to west. I stand motionless, like a mannequin at Harrods, and I'm lost for words. Yes, the same words she once put in my mouth. English, English, but nothing comes out. She left me with an inferiority complex, a worthlessness that can only be described as priceless. I have her texts. She has pieces of me, artifacts, relics, in a not so private museum. It's shocking how quickly habits are formed, behaviors shaped, thoughts transformed, words replaced. Without you, I am barely me, half an identity. A sailor at day, watching his reflection in the ocean, an empty shell done looking for the perfect wave, an idea that can't quite reach fruition, an algorithm designed to compound confusion. The mirror shows a face and nothing more. Inside my ivory tower, pale as your favorite flower, I rue your division, introduce a new partition to liven up my workspace. Lazy lines on a map drawn to save face. She took whatever gifts I had from me. This much is clear. An occupier of my soul, a usurper of my strengths. I have very little left. Like a country colonized, I must force myself to rise. Rise again. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Kutsia. I'm a Manchester-based poet, and I just want to say thank you to Maniba for inviting me to come and read. I'm going to read some poems from Hamoshi, my daily collection, but before I do that, I'll read from my new sequence. I write a lot about British-Pakistani experience and the complexity surrounding that. So I'll just begin. So I want us to focus on the Indian Rebellion of 1857 in its various forms. It's known as the Sepoy Uprising, Sepoy Rebellion, and its controversial name as the Sepoy Mutiny. The rebellion consisted of the Indian members of the army known as Sepoys, who collectively defied the British rule, which in the end was suppressed. When I was researching the Indian Rebellion, I came across the story of a certain Sepoy named Alam Beg, whose skull was kept as a trophy and discovered in Mr. and Mrs. Mansell's pub in Warner, Kent. The trophy skull was then handed over to historian Kim A. Wagner, who has tried to piece together the life of Begg and to find some way to pay homage to the man himself. So my sequence is based on this discovery of the skull. So this is a quote. So how hard is it for countries and citizens to embrace the truth rather than the national myth? 6. The voices are enclosed in the eye of the well. I lower the knotted rope, the darkness churns. It is here the shadows appear amongst the bare bones of buildings, this forgotten scape crushed by constant killing. At the core of the gunpowder, the shells, the fumes of buildings, the letters of revolt, the signals are the dead. I heard the voices wandering the wave in search of the one who seeks, and there a vision was conceived. Turn inward to see the first light of day through the leaves of a loped tree. I grip the rope and pull. The executions erase the threat, the struggle and stories of these sepoys scattered in nameless pieces. To believe in the oneness of experience is to simplify the tensions of history. The voice rises from the well. I didn't know where I was coming from until I arrived. I raised the water-filled bucket. What do I need to know? I, an enactment of violence, a historical silence. Across the well, I see his hands rest on the stone. White trousers, a red coat, a code attached to the front, 3 stripes on shoulder. He has a name, Adam Begg. I didn't know where I was coming from until I arrived, thinking of it. 8. Before Begg's teeth were sinking in Mrs. Mansell's palm, before he became a national spectacle of colonial cruelty versus Victorian victory, he was a man. And so was every sepoy before he became an ashtray. I followed the red-coated figure down to his chamber. Where have I arrived? The bugle sounds, he wakes an instructor of the school of musketry. He will return in chains, within him an unmappable wilderness. These self-restrained hillmen, like the tigers of their own jungles, are locked in a British imagination. They refuse the percussion caps for their muskets, the torched buildings like secret notes. They witness the fang of the flame, Pandy's roped neck, half charge of gunpowder, a heavy barrel. I let go of the rope and watch the bucket fall. Nothing ever begins. Everything contained floats to the forefront of the wave. Families, honor, status, hair, skin, tongue, bloody neck. These thugs thirst for European blood. Fire. Fragments materialize in the air. A spine, legs with coiled skin, bodies in eternal unrest. Begg's arms and legs tied to the wheel of the gun under the sun. How many fibers are twisted to create the rope? Fire. Begg holds his breath. So that's from my new sequence that I'm currently working on, which is, it's quite rural what happened. But my debut collection is just mapping British Pakistani experience in terms of female experience and the partition. So I'm going to read some poems. I think some of these experiences are very true to what I've witnessed myself. And I'll read the first poem, which is about a friend of mine who ran away from home aged 17. And I'm sure we're all aware that the community likes to talk after a scandal occurs. And I guess this poem is just about the aftermath of that experience. So it's called Erased. She is a cautionary tale of the feminine curse. People read her like Braille and spit out the words, and fill in the blanks with her name alongside countless women who made the same mistake. They quote God and mourn, for a female's rash choice is her own, and a mother should feel the emptiness in her womb because she raised a sin. Her name rests on tongues that only know her cursed infamy. Her name rests on her mother's shelf like a trophy of shame. But I remember the day your bedroom door would not open and your mum came to find us trapped, crying on the floor. This one's called Migration of Sorrow, which is about the partition. In me, there is a migration song, replaying its refrain of sorrow. For a signature split the land, searing the tongues of many. A migration song of swarming massacres, camps, genocides, of colonial and ethnic legacies, a parting of body and mind. Bloodshed bodies borders, borders bodies bloodshed. A man wakes his wife, weds gold to her wrist and runs, hiding in a field, homeless, hopeless, uncertain of the future, a raw, grainy, undeveloped film. Lahore train station, crowded and confused, multitudes lost in search of an idea of home. Parents unable to fend, to feed, they feel the thumping hearts of their children. This great migration, a clouded sun, it takes and takes and takes every light that speaks human, speaks life. Their innocence left in the old world, the life before in distant dreams, the life before the bloody streams. Just one more. Yeah, I'll end on a Seeker's Guzzle because it's a celebration poem and it's a bit more light in tone. So it's Seeker's Guzzle. Let me sew smooth webs for you always, to trap your love, suck your blood always. Stoned from floating fantasies, I drink from your boundless, fruitful flood always. Let me beat the daff, feel the echo of the eastern mountains thud always. For your hope holds the sun's intensity, nurtures my small divine bud always. I dance naked in fiery deserts to the holy song you hummed always, of starless nights, drunken daffs, and my could see us lust for the blessed blood always. Thank you.
रहबर कौम के हाल की हो किस तरह खबर लोगों के दरमियान में वो आता नहीं रहा वापस न जा वहां के तेरे शहर में भी जो जिस जगह पे था वो वहां पर नहीं रहा.
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Raw Pods, Creative Thought and Expression, hosted by Rawanee. This episode contains poetry shared with the intention of preserving the same by Munir Niazi, recited and spoken to by their loved ones.
Hello, everybody. You know, my romance with the poetry started somewhere 13 years ago. I was going on a bus from Boy Scouts to duty given to me on Charing Cross, Lahore. So I sat on the bus and I was going towards the Charing Cross. Suddenly a man hopped into the bus from his Lahore. And he stood beside me and started looking at me. And then he asked me that, am I, by taking my mother's nickname, but are you his son? I said, yes. He said, push away, I love now woman. I was very excited. I told him, yeah, I have heard your song, Uspel for the share or comment. He said, it's not a song, it is a verse. And then we kept on talking to Jane Cross. He got off bus. और फिर हम दोनों चलते हुए गए तो अचानक मोहम्मद ने कहा कि नहीं आ जाओ इस तरह वहाँ शादी बिल्डिंग के सामने जमजम ट्रैक होता है छोटा वो मैं मुझे खिलाया and then he saw me performing with you. And then when I reached Boundary Lawrence, and he used to come very often to meet Suri Tavasan and Mashhur San Yadu was teaching Urdu. Suri Tavasan as a professor in Boundary. वहाँ भी बड़ी फिर गपशप होती थी फिर मेरे साथ ही होते थे आई हैड मोटरबाइक तो मुझे कहते थे मुझे वहाँ पीटीवी ले चलो और मुझे तुम उर्दू बाजार ले चलो चलो चलते हैं लॉर्डन गार्डन पे बैठ के गपशप बात so that's how you know poetry political sensibilities and a lot of background of Urdu poetry came into my mindset and it's still there it is still there बात यह है कि उर्दू वैसे तो आई कंसिडर गालिब a very prominent poet who not only dominated what his predecessors said, he also dominated the next, league of Urdu poetry. But there is a very similar, conditionality between Munir Niazi and Rawanee. Both were issueless. Both had their own diction, their own thought process. They were not influenced by anybody. Both. अच्छा उर्दू पोइट्री में वीर की वीर Khalid and then Munir had their own diction, had their own rhythm, and way of their thought process. And beautiful. अच्छा अब मैं बात करना चाहता हूँ मुनीर नियाज़ी के बारे में क्योंकि पहले भी सुना क्यों एक गजल तो मेरे दिमाग में प्रॉम्प्टो आती है कई आती है एक जो मुझे पसंद भी है एक पंजाबी की भी है एक उर्दू की भी तो है एक पहली गजल में सुनाता हूँ गम का वो जोर अब मेरे अंदर नहीं रहा इस उम्र में मैं इतना समझदार नहीं रहा उस घर में जो कशिश की गई उन दिनों के साथ उस घर का साया अब मेरे सर पर नहीं रहा मुझ में ही कुछ कमी थी कि बेहतर मैं उनसे था मैं शहर में किसी के बराबर नहीं रहा रहबर को उनके हाल की हो किस तरह खबर लोगों के दरमियान में वो आकर नहीं रहा वापस न जा वहां के तेरे शहर में मुनीर जो जिस जगह पे था वो वहां पर नहीं रहा और बहुत गजलें मुनीर नियाज़ी की मुझे स्ट्राइक करती हैं एक पंजाबी की भी मैं सुनाऊंगा पंजाबी वेरी क्लोज टू किसदा दोषी ते किसदा नहीं सी ए गल्लां हुण करंदियां नहीं वेले लंघे तौबा वाले राता औके परंदियां जो होया है होना ही सी ते होनी रोकिया रुकदी नहीं एक बारी जदों शुरू हो जावे गल फिर मुकदी कुछ ਉਂਝ भी रवां औखियां सन गल विच गम दा तौक भी सी कुछ शहर दे लोग भी सालम सन कुछ मैनू मरन दा तौक अच्छा now see Munir Niazi has his own diction, his own thought process, and it's very prompt, precise, delivers the message and very young. Likewise, Ghalib had a different nature. It was infused with Persian. Meat that we eat had a beautiful rhythm. पत्ता पत्ता का बूटा बूटा हाल हमारा जाने है जाने ना जाने तो गोली ना जाने बाप की सारा जाने ये you know after partition I personally think what kept us together was literature otherwise there were many splits but after partition like Paz is still considered a poet of India. Munir Nazim is more is known in Urdu literature in India as well as in Pakistan, but more known in India. अच्छा फिर उसके बाद still even after in the 70s, literature and excellent songs and ghazals of Pakistan kept them fighting, in the literary spectrum. मैं इतनी सी बात करनी है कि भाई इस लिटरेचर को जिंदा रखें और पोएट्री इज द हाईएस्ट फॉर्म and that is for sure in my opinion. I think it's written about 7
I returned a relieved man. I embraced these words. I own this moment like a boss, but see, what's another word for loss?
जो अपने दिल का यार था वो गया तो सब गया जो अपने दिल का यार था वो गया तो सब गया अब दिल का खाना खराब है बस बची है राख
कभी लिखते हुए रो देता था और पढ़कर जाता था हंस making onlookers wonder now what's all the fuss छू जाए तेरे दिल को जो ऐसी आमद पे हो मेरी दस्तरस छू जाए तेरे दिल को जो ऐसी आमद पे हो मेरी दस्तरस and to it you lend a voice could there be a bigger loss
rescue mayonnaise शामिल बढ़ाना ही कहा है बार You are not in the Maxfield lane. You're not in the poetry gathering lane. Tell us, Rahi, where are you? I am on the cupboard catching dust with all the things forgotten. That is where I am.
बहुत देर हो चुकी है समंदर की खामोश और साहिलों पर हवा खाए सीपियों के खाली जिस्म चुम रही है It's late now. The sea too is quiet. The bees now gently caressing the empty shells. It's late.
bargaining disrupted by the dinner better serving for the biggest sinner while he could not help but smile all this and worse a short winner still dazed he too filled his plate after some 11 minutes of wait with what wasn't food by a mile yet he silently sat down and ate depression yeah it came stalking of murders till morn they kept talking in his head he began to compile the acceptance no longer shocking and though it has now been a while these thoughts come knocking.
The weatherman said, brace yourself, this year will sweep you off your feet. It took reality to hit home, about 6 feet deep. He warned us about flash floods pretty soon, climate change was trending, but he didn't warn me about rainfall descending. I'm an extremist in love. I want to see you happy. I want to see you suffer. I want what's best for me. I want to feel perfectly empty. I want peace on earth. I want Putin to win. I want the afterlife. I want a return to original sin. Light balances darkness, but I can't decode the mixed signals you're sending. Focus is no pen of mine. How should we play out the ending? It's marching in like Siberian winds, rainfall descending.
Books elsewhere.
What other may we not?
Was born. I'll stand like face.
You say in the stand for me there's no place?
One operates at the fringes of deceit, one works for the great beyond.
You speak my language in silence in a cyrillic way. This is my world. Satellites don't navigate me. Maps don't fool me into thinking I'm actually getting somewhere. I am where I need to be. Here with you, here without you.
For some boats burn, boats return boats, recognize the visions, and yet somehow they still seek the boats, desperate to escape the lands of leverage, a place lined with trenches and bushes, pining for the boats, praying for the boats, paying for the boats, till one day they fall to the boats, no one will.
The year, some say, was 65, while others don't fix. Around the dinner table sat a set of greatest six. Contemporary rulers of the world then known, for the longest each would occupy their throne. All praise be to Allah, said Akbar, quenching his thirst. Allah who, Akbar? Asked Queen Elizabeth the First. Yes, Allah who, Akbar? Allah the greatest, asked Ivan, Philip, then mask or any status. Joined, however, this band of leaders, Allah who, chanted the magnificent Suleiman, Allahu, Allahu, Allahu. Then too amuse her some quarter century later. The son of this farmer, this nice unassuming waiter, William, had he been there to make it odd, would have summed this with his verse on the Lord. Now God be praised that to believing souls gives light in darkness, comfort in despair. While I resort to quoting him, my mind consoles, ending a poem on Shakespeare.
I accept my fate. Visa rejects me again. Partition reduced to a bedtime story. One woman jumps into a well. One man is sawn in a skin. We read history. We learn nothing.
I heard the voices wandering the wave in search of the one who seeks, and there a vision was conceived. Turn inward to see the first light of day through the leaves of a loped tree.
बरसों बाद है जाना जिंदगी झांक कर गुजरी तुम्हारे ही बेसबब आने से शायद किसी बहाने से मुझे लगा कि हाँ मैं अभी जिंदा हूँ
This is my wonderland. I am hot. Queen.
Do you from the peanut? When the birds are dry.
A pause of nature and of hope marks this very long wait for spring.
You're not in the Maxfield thing, you're not in the poetry gathering thing. Tell us, Raki, where are you? I am on the cupboard catching dust with all the things for college. That's where I am.
बहुत देर हो चुकी है समुद्र की अब खामोश हो चली और साहिलों पर हवा छाए सीपियों के खाली जिस्म चुम रही है It's late. The sea too is quiet. The breeze gently caressing the empty shells. It's late.
Born to love and desire, born to a blazing sun, where thirst and hunger burned entire generations. A land on fire with starvation is a lethal gun. On a different horizon, a different sun.
And in this vast land growing lines of boundaries, sharing them the spoils, that one's for you, this for me. Earth's fate, a map of divided factions, for remand spared, not even a fraction.
فلا الحمد في ذا ولا ذاك لي ولكن لك الحمد في ذا وذاك لي.
All praise to thy name, no praises for me, for thine is the glory and all the beauty.
कि मोहम्मद से वफा तूने तो हम तेरे हैं ये जहां चीज है क्या लौह कलम तेरे हैं what Iqbal is trying to say is that if you kept your promise with the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, then we are all with you. And this world is nothing, even the pen and paper are with you. The pen and paper are actually even superior than this world itself, because that's where possibly God was writing the destiny.
Sen Ahmedi Mahmud'u Muhammed'sin efendim. Hak'tan bize sultanı meyyetsin efendim. O master, your Ahmed, Mahmud and Muhammad. From God, we are the Afghan Sultan to us.
I'm refugee, but I'm not hopeless. I have hope that the sun of peace shall rise from me one day. If I can embrace diversity, why can't you? If I can say no war, why can't you? If I can shout for freedom, why can't you hear my scream? If I can fight for a better world, why can't you stand with me? Poetry for me is like, for me and for my community as well, is a form of resistance and resilience. I didn't look for poetry, poetry found me out, and it is through poetry I breathe, like I find a purpose of life. I believe that one day I will be freeing the world out from the world.
Siraj, it would be lovely to hear some of the poems. I know you've written some wonderful ones. So, would you like to share some with us today?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. First, I'd like to recite a poem in my mother tongue. It's in Rohingya language. Although you cannot understand it, you can feel the tone of my mother tongue. Aisha, একজন রিফিউজি আই হারাই ঘর আর মেরি ইনসানি হকতন মারুমি কিন্তু আই আজও আজানো হারাই একজন রিফিউজি শান্তি হই হই ফানাও জেরগে কিন্তু না হয় শান্তি হনমিকে হনে শুনিবো আর দুঃখ হতা একজন রিফিউজি শান্তি হই হই হাইতে হাইতে সুগতন লোয়াইবরত ইয়ে কিন্তু আই আজও আজানো হারাই একজন রিফিউজি বুকরায়া দুঃখলই বুকরায়া কানিলে আই আজও আজানো জিন্দা. So that's the poem. No, I'd like to recite it in English translation. Hope. I'm a refugee. I lost my home and my land. I'm deprived of human rights, but I still don't lose hope. I'm a refugee, dying from seeking peace, but I find it nowhere. Who will ever listen to my plight? I'm a refugee, restlessly crying for peace. My eyes are about to bleed, but I still don't lose hope. I'm a refugee with a heart full of pain, with eyes filled with tears. I'm still alive with hope. I'm a refugee, but I'm not hopeless. I have hope. I have hope that the sun of peace can rise for me one day. So I will now recite some of my English poem as well. But mind you, children are chasing brown looks, as though chasing a dream. Their minds race with only concern about their next meal. Running barefoot is their favorite adventure. Songs stitch their soul, but it seems as if the boundaries harms the dewy lawn. How to run faster is what they only essay to learn, for books are strangers to them now. I know this can't matter less to you, but mind you, this is nothing less than what the end of the world could be. Another point, international law. I have read very many dramas, each left me amused, except the one so-called international law, so witty and phony, the miserable thought, the very drama that left me in tears. I will now recite a poem from my second collection of poetry, which is internationally published, Still I Smile and Voice for the Voiceless. If I can, why can't you? If I can love you, why can't you love me? If I can feel your pain, why can't you feel mine? If I can embrace diversity, why can't you? If I can say no war, why can't you? If I can shout for freedom, why can't you hear my scream? If I can fight for a better world, why can't you stand with me? If I can care about you, why can't you care about me? If I can treat you the way you deserve, why can't you treat me the same? If I can value your language, why can't you value mine? If I can respect your culture, why can't you respect mine? If I can accept you for who you are, why can't you accept me for who I am? If I can call you who you are, why can't you call me Rohingya? No, I will recite my last poem from my first collection of poetry, is Avayava, the Voice of Resilience. If I were a bird, if I were a bird, I could fly everywhere and reach wherever I want. If I were a bird, I could sing freely the melody of my art. If I were a bird, I could cross any border without passport and visa. If I were a bird, I could never face hatred and would be safe from war. If I were a bird, I could enjoy my life just the way I deserve. If I were a bird, I could never realize how unfair the world is. Thank you everyone.
जो अपने दिल का यार था वो गया तो सब गया जो अपने दिल का यार था वो गया तो सब गया अब दिल का खाना खराब है बस बची है रात
I returned a relieved man. I embraced these words. I own this moment like a boss, but see, what's another word for loss?
कभी लिखते हुए रो देता था और पढ़कर जाता था making onlookers wonder now what's all the fuss छू जाए तेरे दिल को जो ऐसी आमद पे हो मेरी दस्तरस छू जाए तेरे दिल को जो ऐसी आमद पे हो मेरी दस्तरस and to it you lend a voice could there be a bigger plus
Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to another episode of Raw Pods, Creative Thought and Expression, hosted by Rawanee. This episode is a recording of an event that we had in October last year. The theme of that event was To Myself, Conversations Through Time. And the poems that we have in this podcast are extracts from that event in which our members had recited original poetry written by themselves.
CD, I guess it's just me. But if you can answer these questions, I'll throw in an upgrade for free. How do you explain weight loss when it's not planned? Financial ruin down to a grand. A recurring memory of a cat. I barely adopted a heartfelt conversation, but I stopped it. Random thoughts zigzag, white lines crisscross. CD, what's another word for loss? CD, I know it sounds crazy, but I went back in time to meet the younger me. We were both startled and disappointed. Chance at crossroads pre-appointed, silently acknowledging this wrinkle in time, varnish and lacquer, dust and grime. I returned a relieved man. I embraced these warts. I own this moment like a boss, but see, what's another word for loss? See, after a life of being dumbed down, I am finally being frowned upon. Every narrative is long drawn, every right is plain wrong. I mean, just look around you, it's all gone to the dogs. No one gives a toss. Decency and morality hang around necks like an albatross. CD, seriously, what's another word for loss?
न मंजिल है न ख्वाब है बस बची है राख न मंजिल है न ख्वाब है बस बची है राख उतरा ये कैसा अजाब है बस बची है राख जो कलाम लिखा रद किया जो धुन बनी गलत बनी जो कलाम लिखा रद किया जो धुन बनी गलत बनी न सुरूर है न शराब है बस बची है राख शम्मे महफिल बुझ गई परवाने सब उड़ गए शम्मे महफिल बुझ गई परवाने सब उड़ गए बुझता हुआ दिले बेताब है बस बची है राख बुझता हुआ दिले बेताब है बस बची है राख उम्र भर उम्र भर जन्नत और दोजख के बाद ये जाना उम्र भर जन्नत और दोजख के बाद ये जाना न गुनाह रहा न सवाब है बस बची है राख उम्र भर जन्नत और दोजख के बाद ये जाना न गुनाह रहा न सवाब है बस बची है रात वो चराग था ऐसा रोशन कि जिंदगी फिरोजा वो चराग था ऐसा रोशन कि जिंदगी फिरोजा वो चराग कब से रखे आप है बस बची है रात जिंदगी मुंह छुपाए धीरे धीरे सुलग रही है जिंदगी मुंह छुपाए धीरे धीरे सुलग रही है ये आग बेलगाम है बेहिजाब है, बस बची है रात। जो दोस्त थे बिखर गए, कब के दिल से उतर गए। जो दोस्त थे बिखर गए, कब के दिल से उतर गए। गर्मी महफिल है, ना शबाब है, बस बची है रात। जो अपने दिल का यार था, वो गया तो सब गया। जो अपने दिल का यार था, वो गया तो सब गया। अब दिल का खाना खराब है, बस बची है रात। न मंजिल है न ख्वाब है, बस बची है रात। उतरा ये कैसा अजाब है, बस बची है रात।
Snowflake, life here, you must love. A city most desired, artists here, feel inspired, painted bright, but brush aside a marks of war, camouflage of trees, hidden misery, remnants of an industrial revolution from long, long before. Snowflake, at least pretend to smile, for back home, boasts you such green miles. What you miss is hazy history. Now that place is not but a hotspot of misery. Time rolls on and you rush, but you miss the train yet again. Snowflake, don't complain. For 40 degrees here is better than 47 back home. But you recall a time of pleasant breeze, a life of ease, a silver spoon of care, no frill, no mad drill, retrospectively luxury. Snowflake, surrounding yourself with company from back home, polished, labeled, just right. Green shy, like how we're supposed to like. Aromas of arrogance, spoonfuls of ignorance. You sip with distaste. Joy, you cannot fake. Your mind to the strangeness of it all is awake. Snowflake, you continue to seek what you once had. If ever really it was. Never melting in the heat and never stopping frozen with gold. Free you roam, ever a rolling stone, lost snowflake, finding your way back home. Destination unknown.
इस पढ़ने लिखने में गैर से बनी थी हम नफरत। For oneness with you and me.
I'm just going to announce a musician. So could we go to like the blank screen? Like stop screen share and Zoom.
I don't know how to stop it. Sorry, I don't use
I
Zoom.
think it's not screen
It's
sharing anymore. Yeah, that's fine. It's not screen sharing. How do we get this off the main screen?
What do you want on the screen?
Like nothing.
Just black.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. All right. Hello, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for being part of Rawanee's event. The official kickoff time is 1. We're going to have some of the musicians come and jam and sing a few songs before, and then we'll kick off with the main event after a little while. So let's welcome over here Ramis and Salman, who will be singing for us today.
Check. So hello everyone, my name is Ramis, and today I have Salman Tawheed with me. He's a musician, singer, songwriter, and a guitar player, and joining us on guitars and vocals. So, could we please get a round of applause, please? Thank you. So, we're going to be starting off just warming you guys up with a bit of Bollywood. I know all of us like a bit of Bollywood here. So, if you know the songs, please feel free to sing along with us. ये आंखें जब मेरी देखी शराबी ये दिल हो गया संभालो मुझको ओ मेरे यारों समझना मुश्किल हो गया शराबी आंखें जब मेरी देखी शराबी ये दिल हो गया संभालो मुझको ओ मेरे यारों समझना मुश्किल हो गया मेरे ख्वाब तेरे तस्वीर जैसे हो दीवार पे बेफिदा मैं क्यों हुआ आता है गुस्सा मुझे प्यार पे मैं लुट गया मन के रहा मैं कहीं का ना रहा क्या करूं खुदा खुदा ये जादू तेरी आंखों का ये मेरा साथ हो गया गुलाबी आंखें जब तेरी देखी शराबी ये दिल हो गया ओ बीवी रातों में तुम आओ बीवी रातों में तुम आओ ऐसी बरसातों में आओ ना जिंदगी एक सफर है सुहाना यहाँ कल क्या हो किसने जाना जिंदगी एक सफर है सुहाना यहाँ कल क्या हो किसने जाना तेरा यकीन क्यों मैंने किया नहीं तुझसे रहा क्यों जुदा कुछ पे ये जिंदगी करती रही सितम फिर भी यही है तेरा मेरा रिश्ता तेरा तेरा रिश्ता ना सोना तेनू रब ने बनाया कितना सोना तेनू रब ने बनाया कर बेकदार कितना सोना तेनू रब ने बनाया तेरे लिए झूम दीवाना बन के तेरे लिए वादा है मेरा मैं तेरे लिए होगा कभी तुम जुदा आसान नहीं यहाँ आशिक हो जाना पलकों पे कांटों को सजाना
आशिक को मिलती है तुमकी सौगातें सबको ना मिलता ये शर्माना रो रहा हूँ मैं सुन रहा है ना तू क्यों रो रहा हूँ मैं मेरे साथ सुन रहा है ना रो रहा हूँ मैं रहा है ना क्यों रो रहा हूँ मैं मेरी तो मेरा जब चलता गिरा है मेरी अखियों से अखियां मिला दे देखा चमक चलो बीमा चमक चलो बीमा चमक चलो बीमा चमक चलो सांसों में भी है बातों में मुझको डूबा इश्क में किसी तेरी यादों से दिलकश आँखों से लम्हों में जिंदगी से प्यार मुझको बता मेरे को कैसे सहेंगे मुझको सताओ फिर आओ मुझको बुलाओ अभी जाओ 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 Yeah, if I could request everyone to kind of come closer.
Closer together. Let's join in. Let's join in.
Please. Everyone's shy. It's fine.
I think we could do one more song and then we'll kick
Yeah.
off with our,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's do the. This one's called the Sufi medley. So we've got loads of different Sufi kalams in this. So written by the great Baba Bulleh Shah and other notable poets from Indian subcontinent in Pakistan and India. So this one's in like pure Punjabi. So I hope you guys understand it, and if not, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to have a conversation about that. पढ़ पढ़ इल्म ते फाजिल हो कदे अपने आप नू पढ़िया ना ओ भज भज बनना है मंदिर मसीती कदी मन अपने बिच बड़िया ना ओ लड़ना शैतान दे नाल एक दिन सपने नाल लड़िया ना ओ बुल्ले शाह आसमानियां दियां खड़ो ने जेड़ा घर बैठा उन्नू ओ यार अस्करी हो यार अस्करी हो यार अस्करी हो यार तो एक अल्फ तेरे अल्फ तेरे हो यार बस करी हो यार बस करी हो यार बस करी हो यार अल्लाह साया अल्लाह साया अल्लाह साया जान ना जा जान ना जा मेरे मेरे पढ़ मेरे कुर्बान मेरे कुर्बान मेरे पढ़ अबे जान ना जा इस इश्क की ठंडी विच मोर बुलंदा इस इश्क की ठंडी विच मोर बुलंदा सानू के बुलाते काबा सोना यार दिसंदा सानू के बुलाते काबा सोना यार दिसंदा सानू आयल करके मोड़ पर नालियां आयल करके मोड़ पर नालियां तेरे इश्क न आया कर तैया 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 तेरे इश्क न आया कर तैया 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 तेरे इश्क न आया कर तैया 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 तेरे इश्क में जो भी डूब गया उससे दुनिया की लहरों से डरना क्या गिरे इश्क में बोली डूब गया उससे दुनिया की लहरों से डरना क्या गहराई में जितना भी जाऊं गहराई में जितना भी जाऊं पास में उतना ही पाऊं से दरिया का पानी बनते उससे दुनिया की लहरों से डरना क्या गिरे इश्क में तो भी डूब गया उससे दुनिया की लहरों से डरना क्या
Sorry. Forget the one. So it's okay for now, but when I announce it, then you'll have to like come to it. So I think it'll be another 5-ish minutes. Yeah.
Before you start.
5 minutes. 5 minutes after I start, I'll just say that we need to play it, and then I'll take your help in turning this on. Yeah. I'm going to introduce, and then after 5 minutes, I'll ask you for help with this to play the first video. Is that okay? All right.
And you need this one.
Is it just this one? Can I put it a little bit in the middle? If that's all right. Okay. So, yes. Sorry, guys, just a minute. Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Rawanee's Mehfil. This is a celebration of 6 years of this community. We started off as a Pakistani diaspora group. We used to meet online during the COVID years. Over the years, we've grown our community. We've had more than 35 events over the years. We've had a podcast that's been live since 2021. And we're here today celebrating the launch of an imprint and our second and third publication. And we're here today to celebrate 6 years and to celebrate the community and just to have a good time. On the program today are a number of conversations, some of which will be live, some of which have been pre-recorded to manage time. There'll be poetry and there'll be more live music from the wonderful musicians who are here with us today. I'll kick off. So just in terms of the event and how it's structured, we have 4 different acts, and there are 4 different sequences to the event: Bunyad, Safar, and Ruh. For those of you who are familiar with the words, common to a number of Eastern languages, Bunyad refers to root, right? So we trace back to our roots, where we come from, the origins of our learning, the origins of our literary and intellectual tradition. Safar is journey, the journey of displacement, creative journeys. the journeys that all of us have been making throughout our lives, psychological, social, as we evolve, and Ruth is soul. In between, we will have a little bit of a play skit from when we arrive, our play, and a few further conversations. Also, as part of the event, we'll be hearing, again, some recordings from our poets in Gaza, some poets that we've been working with who are based in Gaza for the last, we've been working with them for some time. And they'll be sharing memories of their teacher, Rifat Al-Arir, who was killed about, I think, 2.5 years back, and who has left them with wonderful memories. And here with us today is, a representative of Coastal Lines Press that has, published some of the poets' work. So kicking off today, Bunyad. The Ravi didn't write. The Ravi is, the storyteller of the past. And the tradition of storytelling used to be an oral art form. The Ravi remembered, and the Ravi carried something forward. Another's voice forward across generations without adding themselves to it. So the tradition of storytelling and narration is a long one. And before publishers, before permission, there was a person who stood in a room and said, I will carry this, I will take it forward. During Bunyad, we're going to have a number, and we're going to listen to some conversations and poetry that honor the tradition of, that honor intellectual tradition. And we will hear from people who are in different ways remembering this tradition. As I begin, I will kick off with a poem of mine called Seeking Roots. And this poem is dedicated to all the children of displacement. And there's so many people today who are migrants, there are so many who are refugees, there are so many who are displaced from their identity for various reasons that the fractured world causes. I once heard of a tree that cried in solitude, bore thirst, who to its companions felt had long back said goodbye. We are not built to thrive alone, where trees live in community, sharing water, nutrients, sunlight, in places where our people's roots had long back linked, ours flowed side by side, protecting from danger children and elderly of the fallen, preserving legacies. Where our feet would now slip on soil eroded and survivors wilt wiry and plain. Ancient people said trees carry prophecies. We bear silent apologies, a past of renegades. But branches spread wide. As you seek your roots, I shall lend you my shade. And this is a poem I dedicate to anybody who's struggling to and trying to preserve their roots. And now we're going to hear some conversations from a number of people who are doing exactly that, and some poems to punctuate the conversation at the end. And then we'll carry on with our live program, including poetry and singing. Is it sharing screen?
So sorry, I had to be pulled away.
Population in subcontinent and diaspora, they all love Urdu and enjoy Urdu. And then on top of it, it holds our cultural, our cultural evolution, our tehzeeb and tamaddun, from the time of Rekhta in 17th century, courts of Awadh and Rampur and Delhi maybe, and writers like Wali Takni and Mir Ghalib and Premchand and Faiz Ahmad Faiz. So if you don't enjoy Urdu, you miss the whole this whole evolution of our cultural, cultural thought evolution. So I feel, I mean, I'm privileged that I can speak Urdu. I've grown up in a family where the Urdu was like Urdu was loved and Urdu was, kind of nurtured with the traditions of Urdu poetry, Mushairas and Qazis and all that. I come from that family. So yeah, I mean, Urdu is the one that is my, I mean, I would say my natural creative outlet.
I draw from something that I would call very much an intangible state. And for me, that's a space that links me away from the material world. And David Lynch, the filmmaker and artist, calls this a dream space linked to meditation. Personally, I would go as far as to say it's not meditative because I don't want to really apply a specific word that reins it in. I would feel that it's a human state of creativity and connection with an inner space. It's a space that occupies part of my body, where emotion, where images and thoughts merge. And this is where an idea falls into place from maybe a poem or art, and then words merge through the physical process of writing or through drawing. And the technique and the craft for me comes last. And this space that I occupy, there's also a physical space. I'm British, I was born and bred Londoner, and I'm also diaspora with roots in Balochistan that come on both sides of what is the Goldschmidt line that defined modern day Pakistan and Iran.
But just, in terms of how you found your voice and, has it been something that has been very fulfilling for you? And what were you trying to find? And do you think you found it? Do you think the journey is ongoing? So over to you.
The group we started back in university, and the idea was to bring to fore taboo subjects, things that weren't talked about, things that needed a voice, a platform, but they weren't discussed. So we took, like War Against Rape, we teamed up with them, brought up a play. And similarly, we had like 6, 7 different original productions, which we produced over between 98 to 2005. So that was the fun-touch part of it, performing, different ideas. And then later on, slightly later, we had that Orchid platform on which we had Desi Writers Lounge, which we took into a platform, a forum kind of a structure in which you could critique work from others and give feedback and develop from there. That was something which did not exist for local writers, so that gap we tried to fill. And then I came across Rawanee, and that was the time of COVID. And that was when I was really looking for platforms where I could submit my work and have it reviewed. So Rawanee offered an excellent platform for that, and there was performative as well. So that was instantaneous feedback. So that was a very positive contribution towards my journey, and learning from that as well. Farah and I started HikayateAamm a little while ago, and that is another platform where we are giving voice to multilingual voice to people primarily from the Pakistani diaspora. So the journey as such has been about asking the question why not. I mean, there was no theater scene happening at IBA. We said why not. There was no writers platform for JCs, so we said why not. Similarly, there was nothing happening on a performative scene, and Rawanee caught my eye with that regard. So this is how it's always been. So that's what my journey has so far been. Why not?
Okay, so to answer that, I have to give a little bit of a background about me. So I don't live in Pakistan. I moved out of Pakistan in 2011. So it's been 15 years that I have been abroad. And I was in New York for 12 years, and I moved to London more recently, about 3 years ago. But I would say the main reason why I did what I did, and I didn't start this journey right now, I started this in 2020, was when I had a son and I was raising him in New York. So that's when the journey began because, at that point I was looking at toys and resources and things that would make Urdu learning fun, because like I said, like it's not as accessible because you're raising a child in an English place in an American city where the native language is English and all he sees and hears on television and in school is English. So I was looking for resources, for like fun resources, and I couldn't find anything in Pakistan. And that's what clicked, and I was just like, okay, so if it doesn't exist, then maybe I should start making puzzles and books. And that's how the journey started.
Or developing and making institutions, working on curriculum, all this is a means to a higher end. And that higher end I am very clear about. It's the thriving of societies, justice, peace, development, the right to development of each individual. So whether we are building industries or developing curriculum, we shouldn't forget that. That is the purpose of humanities. So I remember that drives me, and I bring, whether in a classroom or in any other meeting, I would come up, I would think of some points, something that is more aspiring. So if I'm teaching a theory, but I would find something in Ghalib or Iqbal, and I would bring that and I would connect it. So that not only my student is aware that this Western concept, Western theory, Western academia is all coming from Western, the knowledge base, but there is wisdom in Eastern literature, in our religion, so much more. So I always connect. So for me, it is always assimilation, and because I am who I am, I am from Pakistan. That's my identity. I belong to this part of the world. My people have their own struggles. My people have like the most resilient people on the in this wide world.
So start making puzzles and books, and that's how the journey started in 2020. And but I'm somebody, I grew up in Pakistan, right? So I know how to speak in Urdu. I'm a native Urdu speaker and I can read the language. But what quickly came as a very harsh reality was that the Urdu script is already lost, especially in the Western audience, especially with the diaspora kids. So they can't read it. And even their parents sometimes cannot read it because they're second generation parents who have been brought up there. And that became like a very harsh reality. And what I learned from parents and myself raising a child abroad is that the main focus should be on conversational Urdu, making it accessible and easy and fun. And that's where I've rebranded and relaunched my business more recently, which is this year. And I'm making animated, animated cartoons for kids on YouTube. So I have short stories that I post, and then I also have Jaldi Batao easy vocabulary quizzes, which are basically vocabulary building quizzes. You can see it, it's a minute long, and you can just have to guess the word. And I also have screen-free options on Spotify and Apple.
And this love of both of my homes was inspiration for my debut pamphlet, God Humor, the Breathing of the Earth. And as part of that, to share that love of both of my homes, I created an alphabet called the Mehrgarh script, because the pamphlet is based on an ancient Neolithic culture in a place called Mehrgarh in Pakistan. And the alphabet was inspired by phonetic sounds in Balochi and in English. I'm not a linguist, and it was very much a spontaneous act of that reaching into the inner space and creating forms from it. I was lucky that the pamphlet was selected by Chris Riddell, the illustrator, and it won the Michael Marks Award for illustration. In this case, the starting point for my work that I drew on for inspiration were the Mehrgarh clay figures. But most importantly, as somebody who belongs to diaspora, I feel this internal space within me, almost as I would describe as an empty landmass that I want to give voice to. And the starting point of my poems is often a feeling of absence and a sense of longing. And in this way, there's a connection with my Balochi roots. Balochi poetry often links to this essence of longing. So going back to your initial question, and what I ultimately draw from, it's a sensation to an event or an idea that we call an emotion, in the way that I've described becomes tangible art.
So just carrying on. So just carrying on with this, I'll invite Ramesh to come and perform a song, and then we'll move on to a reading. Sorry, then we'll move on to the recording of Khansa poets, and then we'll move on to our live skit after that. So Ramesh, over to you.
Woo! You.
Yes.
So it's a Yad, the first one. Yeah. Yep. Just before I'll speak a bit, and then you just want me to play it? You can play it for me. Perfect. I'll give you a thumbs up. Yeah. Oh, hello everyone. Just before we get started, I just wanted to kind of introduce myself to all of you. And my name is Ramesh Ali. I am a singer-songwriter from Karachi, Pakistan. Do we have anyone here from Karachi by any chance? You got some Karachi hits here. And so I'm not sure how many of you actually understand Urdu, but all of my music at the moment is mainly Urdu, bit of Hindi and a bit of English. So this one is a song about yearning, about a long lost memory, and this one's called Yad. मेरा एक पल भी मेरा नहीं दिन गुजर गए रातें भी गुजर गई तेरे बिन मेरा एक पल भी मेरा नहीं टूट जाना तेरा मुस्कुराना मेरा टूट जाना तेरा मुस्कुराना मेरा दिल के कोने में मेरे बस सा गया दिल के कोने में मेरे बस सा गया मुझको याद करो ना मुझसे बात करो ना मुझको याद करो ना मुझसे बात करो ना मुझको याद 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 करो ना बातों से बना नबी क्यों तेरे बिना जीना है सजा मेरी हर लम्हा मेरा बातों से बना नबी तेरे बिना जीना है सजा मेरी दिल में रहना तेरा आंखों से बहना तेरा दिल में रहना तेरा आंखों से बहना तेरा दिल के कोने में मेरे बसता गया दिल के कोने में मेरे बसता गया किससे बात करो ना याद 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 Thank you.
So where we came from, and the roots may carry or leave us. The road is what happens next. Next up, we move on to our segment of the program called Safar, and we'll be hearing the recording of a few Gaza poets from Gaza who are remembering their teacher, Rafat. And after that, we move on to some more performances and some live, the live poetry readings and skits and more live music. We'll just play the
Hello everyone. I hope you are all doing well and are in good health. Some voices do not fall silent when their owners are gone. They remain alive in every word they left behind and every heart they inspire. Today, I would like to share an elegy I wrote in memory of Dr. Rifat al a teacher, a writer, and a voice that continues to inspire readers and students around the world. May Allah envelop him in His mercy and grant him the highest place in paradise. A voice that still teaches. I knocked upon the door of the third year of being an English literature student, carrying 3 years of waiting for one lesson exemplified by Dr. Rifat. I entered the hall. The chairs were seated before their students. The board stood pale, asking for a sentence. I waited and waited for a voice to fill the gaps lost within the earth. 10 minutes, 10 months, 2 years, and 1 month more, but nothing placed him at the front. No hello, everyone. No jokes to fill the morning. No brilliant, but think more deeply. No, I'll stop here. We'll continue next lecture. Only the absence that knew its place. The child trembled, trying to write, but forgot the letters, waiting for the hand that would never come. The clock ticked backward, folding yesterday into the year I would never meet him. A notebook flipped open by itself, lines reading poems, calling for his hand that would never come to add its touch, shaping itself into something stronger. Dr. Rifat, we waited for you as one waits for a future already written in the timetable. A third year, a classroom, a voice that would one day call my sentences to account. The whole remained voiceless, and I waited, not patiently, but with the certainty that one day I would be your student. You did not teach me in a classroom, but you taught me through your remaining voice, which never faded, refusing to decline. Your body is absent, but your spirit keeps you present. Your voice pulses anew to resist, to continue to fight. They killed you deliberately, but they do not know that this is not enough. They ignore the repeated truth that every day a new Rifat is born to live and tell your story. I am your student, even though you never taught me face to face, which now is also a dream. Yet your martyrdom became our lesson. If you must die, we will be your standing voice. We are Dr. Rifat's students, learning by resistance, carrying your story in our pens, our questions, and our lives.
Hello and good day. Thank you very much for giving me the chance to talk about Dr. Rifat al and it's my pleasure to talk about him First of all, I want to introduce myself. This is Lubna Ahmed Abu Dahrouj. I am a writer from the Gaza Strip. I am a genocide survivor. And I just want to talk about Dr. Rifat. I cannot translate my feeling into words. I cannot describe him. I cannot, um, I cannot like conclude him in a voice message. But I just want to share that Dr. Rifat Al is unmatched. I studied with him 3 main courses during my academic journey, which are Introduction to the English Literature, Shakespeare, and the Poetry course. And I just want to say that he influenced me very much, and he's still influencing me. The way I write, the way I express myself is influenced by the way that Dr. Rifat Al taught us at the university. And now I am a writer. I write poems, short stories, and articles because of him, because he was my doctor, and uh, because of his instructions and because of his inspiration. He is very kind and he is very supportive. And sometimes he were very maybe you have noticed that I said he is, because I don't want to say and to describe him using the past simple, because I think and I believe that he is still alive, and he is much alive in our hearts, in our minds. So I abandoned the past simple, and I'm sorry if I talked about him in past simple. But I just want to say that I owe him too much, and he still continues to inspire us, and he is the reason why I write. And also, I just want to share something that is very important. The first poem that I wrote in the genocide, that entitled "In the Silence of Dawn," this poem was dedicated to him, and I wrote it because of him. Um, I cannot as I have said it from the very beginning, that I cannot describe him into words. I cannot say about him anything, because he is beyond descriptions, beyond words. Um, I'm sorry that I feel that we lose the most intelligent and the most genius person that I have ever met in my life. Very much. Um, May he rest in peace, and his inspiration and his words are much alive, and I think that we must continue his legacy. Thank you very much. And this is Lubna again from the Gaza Strip. Please pray for my doctor, and please pray for my mother and brother who were killed.
Assalamu alaikum. I hope you are doing well. Today, I'm going to talk about Dr. Rifat Al-Arayr, rahmatullah alayh. Unfortunately, I didn't have the chance to be his student, but I studied his recorded lectures and I learned a lot. He was one of those figures who couldn't forget. His way of teaching was incredibly amazing. Dr. Rifat taught from his heart what he feels about literature and poetry and Palestinian literature. He is a big fan of telling his story, as he talked in TEDx. Telling his story is more impactful from generation to generation. His poetry course made me feel the strong of words and what did they imply. There were a lot of people told me to start to write poetry or stories until Dr. Rifat put the last torch and I started writing. He consistently told us to write and never be broken to talk about our case, our history, and our heritage. On my first poem I wrote, he is the only one came to my mind. I wrote some sentences to talk about him to immortalize his memory in the minds of the readers. He was a wonderful teacher and poet. Let me recite the first stanza of my poem, Between a Dream and a Nightmare, talking about Dr. Rifat. studying under a flickering light in the depth of night, listening to the words from a martyr's voice and the baker's last breath, no power to change. Following lines in the shadow of death, frame by frame, I pause the screen to catch the wisdom of a great name, a father, a poet with a voice so clear, now killed by those who trade in fear. He taught me healing through poems, a lecture about life he couldn't save.
Right now, everyone, I hope that you've been having a good time today. We are just going to proceed with the next stage of our evening, which is Act 3, called The Arrival. What happens when separate voices stop traveling alone and write towards each other? Bunyad, ask where the voice comes from. Safar, ask what the road does to it. The Arrival, asks what happens when you stop writing alone. 7 people wrote a play in weeks who had never written a play before. It worked not despite the chaos, but because of it. The play is called When We Arrive, a play about dunya and iman. And today, performing this very sketch as iman is our very own, the curator of tonight's evening, Muniba, who will be playing iman. So I'd like you all to welcome Anita on stage with your largest round of applause. Thank you.
Your searching eyes shine in the brilliant sun, seeking answers to difficult questions. Do not ask me about tomorrow, famine, war, and lust. Merchants of malice turn empires to dust. Love in our hearts, but thorns in our throats. Under dark, ominous clouds we choke. A wiser man before me drank the morning dew, broke bread with pigeons, rooted himself like a tree, heard the wind sing, watched the grass grow, sensed the dread at night. Shooting stars made his bed. He returned to his village, bearing only the gift of self. Much to the chagrin of his kin, I too come from nothing, and will probably come to nothing. My fabric is thin and threadbare, my skin burnt. My parched lips utter a solitary wish. May my pen never run dry. May my words find a home, even as I am fated to wander, mandals and masajids. Greet me like a brother, trapped in this body, a soul with no consequence. Perhaps a kindred spirit will stumble on my meaning. We are a continuum. Dreamers must go on dreaming. It's our only hope. Sustained by God's graces, I am thankful, and soon this desert will swallow me whole. Heed my warning. Through the turbulent night and the mystic morning, each moment we breathe is a martyr's death, a coward's retreat. You who wield sharp swords do not know the power of my thoughts. You are enslaved to a self-defeating cause, trading your akhirat for false gods. Heed my advice. Suffering is a certainty. In endurance lies victory. There's a great war coming, and no one is battle ready. Find a way like water. Build an oasis in your mind. Banish riches and glory, and do not ask me about tomorrow. Now go and finish the story.
What happens when we arrive? Hello, everyone. I'm Iman, and I'm a migrant. And today I'm here to tell my story. And I'm going to begin by saying, I've lost my voice. I've lost my voice. Red tonsils, inflammatory statements from the yet voiced. And not yesterday, and nor today, may truth be spoke to power. In silence we cower. I cannot speak. Brown Muslim woman, raised to be meek, unable to talk of the something outside. On the safe side, drowning as migrant speech like a strepsil is gulped down. There is a lot I cannot say. School children not allowed to pray. Passive aggressive slides day after day. Free speech and life are universal human rights. Avoid whispers too, says the medical advice. I've lost my voice amidst plentiful liberty and freedom of choice. This summer work rejoice, safety in numbers, dumbed down in a crowd, but of this nagging pain and for it, I cannot speak aloud. But I am of the lucky ones. Do we migrants, do we always arrive? There are some who don't. They were warned of the choppy waters and the rough seas, but they said, we've always lived our lives neck deep. Many a mighty boat lives on the ocean bed, but they say, at rock bottom, we've been born and bred. Traffickers say they're not to blame. Migrants are aware this is a risky game. Not on us, say the Coast Guards. Doing as we're told, to think they've been welcomed here, that's mighty bold. For some boats, burn boats, return boats, are ever a plight of little hope, and yet somehow they still seek the boats, desperate to escape their lands of no bridges, ablaze lined with trenches and ditches, pining for the boats, praying for the boats, paying for the boats, till one day they're called to a boat, lump in their throats, and then crowded on the boat, mocked on the boat, locked on the boat. For oxygen they choke. No water for their dry throats till a flood of it rushes through. For people of boats, there's often no choice but to sink or float. The waves may wash some bodies ashore, of those for whom a doom boat was the closest thing to home they'd ever known. A teardrop disappears into a vast sea. Perhaps in heaven, the angels weep. I have arrived. I have arrived here, or so they tell me. I hear the noise. They don't want my voice, but I hear their noise. What are they saying? What are they trying to tell me? There's a cacophony in my ears. Cars, trains rumble everywhere. Loud sounds of insults and slurs. Does Iman have a place anywhere? Who am I? Who am I? They want to know. I really ought to answer. How can I be too sure? I am the once trembling voice of Moses, that to the cruel one spoke. I am the staff that struck a serpent. I am the arm with a white glow. Derided, mocked, ridiculed, obsolete, long past my time. Man preserves culture, traditions. I learned to be wary of mine. I may say I'm a poet with flowing words, though I do stumble with rhyme. But my words are to minority. Iman for Iman, who today would give a dime? There are valleys through which we've walked. There are mountains which we have climbed. I chide myself for standing alone, estranged. For once Iman with the world had aligned. I relearn the ways of this life, a cog in a great machine, a nobody of no consequence, except I remember how to feel. And life for me would be simpler if I could but grow a thicker height. But my heart's in flames like Arran Bushnell's. My soul hurts from the inside, seared with heavy grief for others' pain, yet absorbed in my own. I am all of Iman. I am but a fragment of myself. I am every word, every breath. I'm not a book that lies alone on the shelf. I hear the slurs, I see the side eyes. Iman is mad, accused of lies. Iman sits with the weak. It's not an image that sells. We rise, we ebb, we humble ourselves. With trembling voice, the truth we tell. Perhaps one day it will ring a bell. I am the star that swallowed the lies. I am the faith for which the sea stood by. I am the star that swallowed the lies. I am the faith for which the sea stood by. There's a cacophony in my ears, but I am Iman. I still speak, knowing that he hears. They ask why Iman left her native land. They ask why Iman came here. What could Iman's reasons be? There's two sides to every story. Today I share a slice of my own. Some chase bright lights of glory, but I, with a simple will to live, roam. Oh, the muddy banks of that river, home to hues dusky and warm. On its fringes bustled the city, warm and welcoming, its timeless charm. For that city of love and light found itself amidst a great plight, a world of riches for the victors, destitution, the sufferer's plight. For that place of beauty preserved a bubble, in it many a rich man dreamt, resource and industry claimed for itself the best, smugness declared itself society's creme. For them, a good life promised. They can eat and also have their cake. For others, destined strife and toil. We're lucky if we find an escape. Oh, my home, with its beautiful places, beaches, gardens, trees it enclosed, robbed, deprived, rendered unsafe. The world's response? Neglectful repose. Lucky, for I have managed to leave, rowing against high tides and rough seas. From one shore, packing off to another, the price of shelter, a promise of ease. There I'd been awarded a doctorate, here hold an unrecognized degree. Long hour shifts, food delivery, my customer service is rated free. Minimum wage, at least I get paid. Rest under a roof though it leaks. At night return mist from the past, stirring even as I try to sleep. Nostalgia, laughter over shared meals. Aromas of spice with a tinge of smoke. Wishing I could turn back time and tide, knowing well there isn't much hope. They speak of the char, blackened, burned, but my sight sees still beyond the ashes. Memory breathes life into fields of green, of a time and place before violent clashes. And daytime engages me in work, carting deliveries from door to door, pleasantries and talk of the weather, trying to take that rating up to 4. And with many a friend have I parted, bonded since childhood, by fate split. And some friendships soured with time, but memories alone don't pay my bills. This might perhaps yet entertains reason. Of practical life it pulls through seasons. But here today I share with you this song, for I never fully brought my heart along. And you know they ask me, They ask me what happened to my people, to the ones who were left behind. How did my people fare? What do I tell them of how my people fared? How would my people have fared in a world that took away their right to self-determination? In a world that to them has been nothing but cruel and unfair to the utmost? How would my people have fared? Spark, flame, combust. Man's forever powerless. Some burn to ash, all return to dust. Sign off evil launch, human skids gone. Greed, dark haunts. In a safe space, millions were displaced. They lit a carnage. Spark, a speck, orange glow. In a silent that night, screams pierce through stone. Men, women, children, crushed, burned, charred. Claim the land, claim the sea. Humans in the way. Healthcare barred. Homes, hospitals, tents, roads. Airdrop aid to some. Eliminate loads. Flame. The trees didn't churn oxygen for this. This should have moved. The target fell amiss. Somewhere charred humans. Somewhere charred souls. Marred justices, consciences sold. Limbs, heads lost tens of thousands. Elsewhere, some crumble under existential dread. Combust, thermal inertia, silent friends. Ignite, heated public debate, definitions defend. Kindle, questions, condemn. Rating, money, views, gone the bearers of news. Regret, apologies, too late. In war, rules are bent. The fire spread, always burned, a live nation lost in a dust. Their fire softens to garden, false heavens will turn to dust. Bliss, the best of creation, burn, the lowest of the low. Retribution in eternity, but God, where do the still alive go? And after all that has passed, after everything Iman and his people have seen, they ask the question, is there still hope for a brighter future? After the storm has passed, when the flood waters recede, brown shoots will reveal, shielded amidst tangled roots, flowers that never bud, many a seed we watered life that never came to be. The past, the evil has aged beyond harm's way, rendered frail and weak, justice serves on its appointed day, arriving as surely as the waters that once buoyed our ships in the sea, cycle back as reviving rain, nature in harmony. As the buzzing bees that serve, that heal, that heed. Their ranks orderly, ours to rule, to divide, homes built as palaces, fortified, functional, purposeful, their hives. The fickle shall pass and substance will last. They model healing, unity. We rise together as one community. And in the aching brain, each neuron as a bolt is fixed. Revives as surely as the bee pollinates the flower, and trauma conjures no more tricks. Clarity of thought nourishes under the clouds' gentle shower. In the aftermath, we sip the nectar that heals as a new day yields. Green shoots of the soil that catches the sun. In the garden of our souls, the broken find themselves, become whole, where blooms many a flower we never knew we planted. Thank you. And now we'll hand over to Rajesh to come and perform a few of his poems.
Yeah, first we'll do this.
So number 2, then 3.
Number 2 and then 3.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. Everyone, I am back, and I'm not sure if many of you are fond of Urdu poetry,
but this next track that I'm going to be doing is I usually write my stuff myself, compose it, and then sing it. But this one's the poetry of the one and only John Elia, if you've heard of John Elia's and this one's called Umar Guzar Dijiye. This one relates quite a lot with the previous act, Iman. मुझको ऐसा लगता है दे रफाकत की है लेकिन मुझको ऐसा लगता है तुम तो मेरे साथ रहोगी मैं तन्हा रह जाऊंगा तुम तो मेरे साथ रहोगी मैं तन्हा रह जाऊंगा ऊपर गुज़ार उमर you. So I think now for local government side, but of course, when it comes to poetry literature, I personally love it. You know, the deeper it is, the sadder it is, the more I enjoy it. Hence, most of my songs are sad. And talking of my songs, the next one's a cover song, and it's trending in Pakistan at the moment. I don't know if you guys have heard about Abdul Hannan, Samar Jafri. So yeah, this one's called Khasara.
कैसे हुआ मैंने तो जान पाया साथ बड़ा नहीं तो खाक रूठ जा कुकुर ना भूल जा तो खाक नीजिए ज्योति रूठ से बरी मेरी तुम देख तो जाती जीता मैं नहीं गया कहने को क्या मैंने तो जान पाया साथ बड़ा नहीं तो
All right, beautiful, Ramis. Completely love that, man. We are just going to move on to our next stage, which is a few live poetry performers. We had some wonderful performances from across the board online. But before we do that, I'd just like to give a shout out to everyone that is in the lobby with us today. So we have Mahin Hussain, who has a brilliant art display, and I would urge all of you to please check that out and look at what she's created. She's put a lot of effort into the work that she's had. And then there are some books and anthologies by Rawanee themselves that are on for display. Please have a look. Myself, I am from the British Pakistan Foundation, and we have some merchandise to give away to all of you as well. And you can read up more about us. We have some brochures over there, which will direct you to our website. And lastly, of course, in the room behind me, we have Khadija, who is prepared some desi food for you all. So there's samosas, chaat, and some chicken wraps. Please help yourself out. That will be in the room right beside this. But for now, let's move on to our next stage with our live poetry session. So Warren, can I have you up here to perform? There you are. And then after this, we'll move on to our rest of our performances. And by the way, if any one of you wants to present something of your own, you're very open. This is a safe space, open to everybody. So I'll be handing the mic over to Warren now. Thank you. I don't need it. All right.
Okay, so firstly, thank you to Rawanee for selecting this poem. This is one of the new anthologies that have been produced for this event. So this poem is quite short. It's called Friday Prayer. Outside the window, tranquility. Beneath
And yes, so we are right now in South Asia Heritage Month, and it's lovely that I get to see all these original pieces from artists like Rames, like Warren himself. And the next poet that we're going to call up on stage is another very special poet who's going to be performing her piece. Hazina, I would like to invite up on the stage to present her poem. And please welcome us.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
Perfect.
Firstly, thank you so much for having me here. And I want to start by congratulating Muniba and Rawanee for hosting this event, and especially at the launch of their anthology and their Kashmir Rawanee book. My encounter with Rawanee has been recent, but I have felt so welcome and felt as though I have always been part of its flow. Muniba is an inspiration, and really her dedication, her passion for the creative pursuits and poetry and for creating community is unparalleled. I admire you lots, Muniba. Congratulations on today. In the spirit of community, I'd like to recite one of my poems called Hum. For anyone who doesn't speak Urdu, hum is also a word that we would use for us. We began in the mind of God upon the cliff edges of command. Thorns and nettles, heather and sacred weather, like purple petals in the gaze of the antelope's equatorial graze. We are dreams. We are dreams, now we meet in the eye of the divine as a momentary glint with an infinite sigh. We are the mist of one breath. We are the mist of one breath, an immortal song to be sung from the lung of eternity to the ear of its origin. We are rhythm and rhyme of the code, the song of God. We are the song of God, the clay form of desire, the satiety of fire, binary upon the wire. We are an eternal poem that in time disappears, but in oblivion reappears, as smoke exhaled returns once again to the space which holds no form, like heat of Serengeti, starlight, confetti growing into the black hole, gathering, disappearing, and yet still leaving its echo in an acacia scent, back to the space where words created their claim, back to the first becoming before anything had a name, form, matter, or soul. All was tame in that frame. We are fibers spun by invisible hands, fabric of flesh precious, those sheared and reared on different pastures, each chosen, woven into one tapestry, one consciousness, one pulse, splendorous, one fold, one strum, one sheet, one throbbing, one atom, the first one. Vibration in the heart of the most merciful Ar-Rahman. We are hum. We are song, a wave in continuum. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hazina. That was absolutely beautiful. And so for the last act, before I open the floor to the audience, I would like to call up Umar. And then, of course, we'll return to all of you, anyone that has something to say. The floor is open to every one of you. This is a room of South Asians, and we're celebrating South Asian Heritage Month to express ourselves here tonight. So I would like to call the very, very splendid Umar to come on stage and perform in front of all of you.
Merhaba everyone. My name is Ömer. First of all, I would like to thank Muruba, to invite me here, and it's an honor to be all of you guys, and also for the well-being of our communities, the cross-cultural communities. And in the spirit of solidarity between the communities, I would like to read a poem that I wrote. It's a long poem. It might test your patience. So I'm from the land of Nazım Hikmet, the Turkish poet, and also Ahmet Arif, the voice of the Kurds in Turkey. So, okay, so I actually begin. Dystopia and utopia. And the dawn came very close to us in the room, as if it would prolong the life of the fading lamp. Will the sorrow of snowdrops vanish, just like the black clouds have receded, making way for blue happiness? It was mentioned in a scientific article. I read it and asked myself, could that be the selfish gene which signaled the first nail into the coffin of this world? For centuries in the factories, my delicate skin was darkened to the color of death. My skin is meant for the green imagination of this earth. My hands meant for caresses were crumbled one by one for years on. Even in my deep slumbers, my mind was embroidering flowers on fabrics. My mind needed rest. Look at the mist clouds combing the forest, then ascending the peaks of mountains. It was because the earth was sweating. Why did they throw the knowledge of our productive hands into dungeons? Why? For centuries, the intuition of those pebbles that bathed in the river of love has been trampled under the feet of tyranny. The sense the scents of oak trees, the joys of violet flowers, and the buzzing of bees have long vanished. Why did they hide that great meaning from us? Why? They were lying, they were lying, they were lying. See my beating pulse, how tiny it is. It is the pulse of this magnificent planet too. Just as it existed before me, it will continue to exist after me, and death will become bearable as a result of this. Wild horses galloping towards us. Listen, they are coming to the funeral of this dying age, decaying age. Will those young lovers return to the bay surrounded by green mountains, and when the sea retires to rest, will they again skip stones on the water? Will the vibration of my voice cross that black clouds to meet that blue serenity? Will the poppies flourish in the wind? Will they rise once again on the rebellious land of wild germination? A woman finished one shift and was starting another in the same day. Who can say, stop and rest, to that woman who must go to a second job on the same day? A crow came, turned twice in the grey sky, and perched on the branch of a bare tree. The scent of melons, the scent of quinces, the scent of tangerines, the scent of mulberries are the names of seasons and the memories of my childhood. Will I still remember that shrub? My friends and I were scared of it and called it Shaitan, the devil. Will I still remember the mulberry tree who then opened its arms to us like an old friend? Will I still remember the day we went to the village fountain where my childhood quenched its thirst? It was 1979. My mother didn't know the letter A comes before letter B. And she still doesn't. But she kept the diary of the wheat fields. If you ever bought a loaf of warm bread from the bakery in the morning, it was because of her. She knew the meaning of number 2 from twin lungs. My father was alive then. My father was giving orders even to the flying birds, and with such a patriarchal voice, as if he were the commander of the world. While my father was succumbed to his pride, my mother knew the time of lungs needed nursing. Time has passed under the bridges. Time has passed over the treetops. My mother is 90 now. Even her bed has grown weary. Even her bed has grown weary. Weren't they supposed to be the dearest elderly? My sister brought a bucket of milk and left it under the melancholic arbor of living. Why and how did we come to this graveyard? That smoking chimney, that boiling pot were nothing more than the rituals of our funeral that we didn't know when it would end. We thought we were living. That cursed crow came again, turned 3 times in the air, in the air and perched on the branch of a bare tree. Mount Ararat was a snow-capped giant, slept for centuries before it was besieged. Mount Ararat knew the enchanting of the birds, healing language of saying, I love you in pomegranate dialect. It would recognize the beloved garden where our hands used to pluck fruits from their branches. Back then, there was a sky. Under that blue umbrella, there was a sorrel horse, too, who was grazing in her usual serenity. And one morning, she walked through stalks and poppy flowers and never returned. In the east, mountains lived shoulder to shoulder for centuries. The trees were young, trees were livelihoods. Smugglers passed through the forest, their shadows and shadows of trees stretched towards the melancholic hour of sunset. It was before dawn. It was before dawn at the Persian border. The gendarmes arrived, laid an ambush. 33 lives, 33 Kurdish souls were lined up and shot. We remained silent, we remained silent, we remained silent. And this is how we came to this graveyard. I come from the lands where even the weddings were gloomy. And here in the cold climate of the north, I count the broken mirrors of the walls. I am cold, I am cold, I am cold, like a lost child's shoe waiting by the roadside. I wait for the warmth of a hand. I recognize eyes, the eyes stare into emptiness. I was going to dance in the streets of cities. I was going to sing in village squares. I was going to say beloved in pomegranate language. I died, I died, I died 1,000 times. Dear sister, it seems our mother was right. She danced only once in her entire life, just once with a wooden spoon. During her entire life, she said only once, I will. I wonder at the end of this road, when we reach the edge of the cliff, will the birds fill our courtyard? I mean that great meaning, the great meaning of love, will it come to rescue us? It was evening, snow began to fall gently, and the flock of reindeer came very close to us, waiting in front of clock tower, as if they would extend the lifespan of the earth. Will the old sun shine once more in the depths of the ocean? Will microscopic creatures once again dream of the green and motion? Will the unripe plum green be the attire? Will the unripe plum green be the attire of hope? And from the nucleus of dying embers, and from the most resilient flame of the red fire, will a new life be born. Thank you.
Thank you, Amos. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Umar. Fun fact about Umar, is that he is the Turkish editor for the anthologies that you will see inside. Do have a look at Kashmir Rawanee and the anthologies that have been launched right inside the lobby. Up next is someone who is also part of the anthology, and she has a very special poem of hers to present with all of you. So may I call Safia Khan to come on the stage and present her poem.
Welcome everyone. Oh, is it on? Can you hear me? Oh yeah, that's fine. I'm Safia. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you. I think we can have another round of applause to everyone for organising today's event. So I'm going to read a poem that is featured in the anthology, and the title is "Line of Control." So just as a kind of introduction, for those of you that don't know, the Line of Control is a 740-kilometre de facto border that cut Kashmir in two after partition. And once established, villages that were once part of the same region, so neighbouring villages, were then divided into separate nations. So this poem is a narrative poem that imagines the perspective of a family that is split by this line of control. The border sliced them overnight like scissors through a braid, chunks of woven hair scattered into loose lines. His Nawasi was here only moments ago, bartering playing cards for boiled sweets. Once, he taught her to skim stones across the Neelam River, held her hand like a nectarine in a pitted prune, squinted one eye shut, tilted the angle of her wrist. Their reflections rippled into concentric circles, light blurring the start of hers, the end of his. He thinks of her afraid, walking home from school alone, unsure along this new edge. She does not know yet, there is no invisible glass. Breathes against the border, wrote a message for her Nana, with her finger, outlines the shape of a heart. Thank you.
Thank you, Satya. That was absolutely beautiful, and something that I feel like a lot of people right here in the UK feel very close to, having a large Kashmiri population. I myself belong to the land, so I really felt that with all my heart. Up next, we have another proud member of the anthology, and this time it's the Urdu editor. May I please call up Maliha on stage to present her poem that she's a part of. There you go, hard copy.
So it's not mine, sorry. I'm
You're
fine
good?
with that, yes. So hi everyone. And to all the ordinary writers and editors and everybody who has been involved in this project before. And also who's part of this community, Rawanee. So I don't have anything of my own at the moment to share. But this is a so this is from the book gathered by Stephen Watts, who is a poet and language activist from East London, from Whitechapel. This is one of his many collections, and this is basically the collection of 94 languages spoken across Hackney in East London. I was at my friend's yesterday in Hackney because she's moving. So it's so interesting. I moved a couple of weeks ago. My friend is moving out of her place, We're talking about migrations, movement, and yeah. So I'm going to just read one point from here. It's already written in Albanian. I'm going to read the translation of it, which is by Robert Aris and Janice Matthew Heck. It's called Departure of the Migrants. Farewell in shoulder bags, farewell in eyes, farewell. Time is being split into two, the sad eyes hovers overhead like a huge egg, sweat soaked bodies of wives, young in years, sighs of mothers wait for us. Let the plants and the children grow, let the birds speak, the bird and the voice and the salt. Let only the roads get older, let the hair grow gray. Of our departure, not of our return. You black road, you long snake, you devoured us. You chased us beyond oblivion. Thank you very much.
Thank you ever so much, Maliha. I think Warren, you said you had a few new poems that you would like to present. So without further ado, let's bring you on stage again. So yeah, a round of applause for Warren once again, everyone.
Okay, this poem is, so just a bit of context. So I'm Black British and my mum's side is English and my dad's side is Caribbean. And as I'm sure many of you know, even if you've lived in this country, you get the questions like, oh, where are you from? And then you explain and say, oh, where are you really from? And they keep prodding and prodding. So that follows on from this title, which is, okay, so if you're from here, where are your parents from? Hackney must have been fascinating to visit during the 60s. Mum is from a grey world which bleeds colour. Each phoneme she utters is on display at the Museum of Cockney. She was the black sheep of the family. She proved them wrong, became a shepherd. At a family event on her side, I was brought along. Her brother with the wolf's eyes asked, what's he doing here? When he died, Mum had no interest crossing back over those haunted pastures. She paid respects to herself. I could tell you where Dad is from, not where he went. He should have died aged 5 from meningitis, named after a 60s actor. The Prisoner is one of my favourite shows. Dad was in jail 3 times before I was 15. Epochs of childhood split across fractions, thirds. Escaping from his head was more difficult than escaping an island. Dad almost died in his early 20s, from screwdriver punctures to his ribcage. He found the culprit years later, excavated the past from his face like a paleontologist. I have been a fan of dinosaurs since I was 16 years old. Mum's parenting was a multi-layered Russian doll when Dad wasn't around. Otherwise, she resided into her centre. Dad's parenting was a good poem, never landing on the truth. You had to figure things out for yourself. I wish she had been a terrible, simplistic poem. Mum and Dad met in a chip shop. I've had grey hairs since I was 12 years old. Life doesn't always make room for metaphors. Thank you. This one, so again, it's a bit of context. I'm a heavy metal fan, and whether you're black or brown, that's usually seen as a bit of a strange thing in certain communities, both the communities that we're from and from the overall a white majority who listen to it. So anyway, this poem is called Black Metal, and it's after a poet called Victoria Adukwe Bully, or Bule. The children in your class who look like you, talk like you, say, you're not one of them, because the people making the music you adore don't look like them, you or us, or sound like them, you or us. But they do look just like your and our teachers, the ones with metal hearts and down-chewed eyes. You try to tell them, yes, it's a privilege to scream on the stage, to say life is unfair, but what they say is more for us than it is for them. That's why at the concerts you scream louder than those who resemble the music makers, or why everywhere you go, there is a mosh pit with only you in the center. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Warren. That was absolutely phenomenal. And I think that's why spaces like the one today matter most, because there always is just going to be space for one of us when it comes to being on stages, because there's always going to be the otherization of our people. So it's so important that we get up together in these rooms and celebrate each other for the art that we create. So I would really like to appreciate what you had to say right there, Rosemary. So up next, before I head up online, is there anyone over here in the audience that would like to speak a few words? I have you right there. Please come up on stage. Yes, the floor is yours. All right, lovely, lovely. I think start with talking about your role in the book as well.
Yeah, I was just going to read one.
Oh, okay, amazing. Yes, please.
Yes. Hi everyone, my name is Manjot. I have a poem in the anthology. I've published a few. I also wanted to say that I'm running poetry workshops in Brighton College in London, and some of them are free. And there's a poetry festival August 8th at Phillips University. And you're all very welcome. All the women, it's a women's poetry festival. So yes, please do come along. My Instagram's the Neighbor's Garden. So give me a follow. But like very South Asian Feminist Poetry Center Festival. So it'd be lovely to see some of you there. Sorry. Hope that's okay, actually. Okay. So I have my poem here. It's really interesting, this poem, because I have reworked this poem and I have a different version, but this is an earlier version. So it's called Goldie. I crossed an ocean to become an afterthought, but there is a ritual to leaving. Quick, before it's too late, shout goodbye one last time. Cry, run, pound the boot of the car with your fist, like the funeral proceedings of your dolly. Drive away, but don't close your eyes. Stop halfway, but never go back. Wait for yellow leaves to fall like tears. Wait for winter to wake. Wait for trees to reincarnate. Wait for your palm lines to fade.
Right, thank you ever so much. Again, same call. If anyone else wants to come up and share a few words, you are most welcome to do so. The floor is open to anybody. And if not, Muniba, with your permission, I would. All right, there you go.
Oh, please go ahead, Marcel.
No, of course. Is there someone?
Yeah, there's 4 readers and then we can have you.
All right, lovely. So I'm going to speak something in Urdu. I got inspired by the art that was presented earlier today, and it reminded me of something that I had written around 7 or so years ago. So it goes and it's very pertinent to themes of the night as well. So if you understand or speak Urdu, I hope that you enjoy and appreciate this. काश काश इस दुनिया में होते लोग हंसा एक दूसरे के जज्बात का ख्यालात का करते एहसास, नफरत और जंग के वावेले से करते इज्तनास, मोहब्बत बांटने और प्यार भरी बातों पे बुलाते इजलास, अफसोस से दर्दनाक लफ्ज़ दोहरा रहा हूं, काश अना की जाल साजी की बुझ नहीं रही अब प्यास, फरेब फ्रॉड झूठ हिर्स का दलदल होना तो समझा जाता है खाम, ना जमीर जिंदा है ना है अब किसी को इज्जत राज, जानों पर जातों पर नस्ब पर अब तो खेली जा रही है ताश, बह रही है कहीं दरियाए सिंध में वफा मोहब्बत और खुश इखलाकी की लाश, अफसोस से दर्दनाक लफ्ज़ दोहरा रहा हूं, काश काश इस दुनिया में होते लोग हसास, छोड़ आते कहीं पीछे ज़हनियत अवामुन नास, प्यार भरे लकब और उन्वान से बुलाया जाता एक दूसरे को पास, मुस्कुराहट लाने की कोशिश होती जब कोई दिखता शख्स उदास, अब तो नफरत के हसूल की खातिर दिलों को किया जा रहा है दास, अफसोस से एक दर्दनाक लफ्ज़ दोहरा रहा हूं, काश काश इस दुनिया में होते लोग हसास, एक दूसरे के जज्बात का ख्यालात का करते एहसास, नफरत और जंग के वावेले से करते इज्तनास, मोहब्बत बांटने और प्यार भरी बातों पर ही बुलाते इजलास, मगर अफसोस से एक दर्दनाक लफ्ज़ दोहरा रहा हूं, काश But I was meant to make all of you happy and engaged today, but we are leaving on a sad note. But without further ado, I will move on to the poets that are joining us online. So we're starting with Pip. I believe you'd be ready. Let's get you on screen.
Hello. Right. This is called The Shape of It. It's trying to make sense of despair, injustice, using shapes. They say it's a vicious circle, but I think it's a rhombus of rage, a hexagon of hatred, a cuboid in a cage. It could be a trapezium of trepidation or a rectangle of ruin, a square of scorn or an ellipse of exasperation. Perhaps it's an oblong of outrage or a sphere of scorn, a cylinder of pure cynicism, or a helix with horns. Could it be a parallelogram of pernicious panic, or an arc of anger, an arrow of antagonism, or a prism of paranoia? It could be a decagon of disarray, or a diamond of discontent, a wedge of wrath, or a callous cone of miscontent. Perhaps it's a spiral of storm, or a fractal of fury, a tumultuous tetrahedron of turbulence, an acute triangle of adversary. It could be a tempestuous tesseract, or a semicircle of scowls, a pyramid of pure pessimism, or a hectagon that howls. It could be an oval of outrage or a polygon of pain, the triangle that haunts you, or an isosceles of indignation in the rain. It's safe to say that we experience injustice. We could be considerably vexed. Maybe the shapes aren't what we were after. And whilst some of them do justice to the depth of despair, perhaps the shape will never meet its master. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Pip. Thank you for that, Pip. As always, that's absolutely brilliant. Next up, we have Brosdo, and just to speak to the running order after that, Shafiq, who's a Rohingya refugee and joining us live from Bangladesh, will be after that. And then we'll carry on with Hasib, Sarah, and Rafe, and we'll do one more round of the room to see what other, if any other live readers have joined us since. So Roz, thank you for being here, and over to you. Do introduce yourself and your wonderful work, and handing it over.
Thank you very much, Maniba, for the invitation to submit to the anthology and to be here today. And I also want to introduce my friend Pingala, who's on screen. The poem that I'm going to read is for her, and she's one of the most courageous, determined people I've ever met. And this poem is a poem of witness to everything that she and her family and community of Bhutanese refugees have been through. So this poem was inspired by Pingala's life experiences, and I met her possibly more than 20 years ago now when I was doing my doctoral research in Nepal with Bhutanese refugees who'd been living in long-term camps. And by 1992, over 80,000 Nepali Bhutanese had been forced to leave their country. And now many of them have been resettled, like Pingala, to third countries like the USA. This is Two Sides for you, Pingala. Two sides. You were the girl ordered to miss school to join anti-government protests. The girl who was forced to shout slogans or risk losing 6 inches. The girl who knew what that meant because she'd heard about the 2 heads found in bags, the bodies in the river. You were the girl whose brother was taken to fight the Bhutanese government or lose 6 inches. You ran across the border with your brother, carrying the smell of oranges you'd grown and a message for your father. Don't come home or you'll be arrested. You ended up alone for months doing domestic work in an Indian home until you were bussed across another border with the rest of your family to settle on the banks of the Maidar River in Nepal. You carried those memories in your body, the fear always awakened by those words, lose 6 inches, making your heart skitter and your mouth dry up. You were the woman who birthed her children in a bamboo hut in the temporary camp with dusty paths lined with banana trees, where the refugee schools taught children only one side of the river, the government oppression and all that was left behind. You were the woman who raised her voice for change, wanted to lose this label refugee by any means, to choose a future for her children because hers dissolved into the river's currents. You were the woman who said yes when America offered a new home, who laid down her heavy baskets of longed-for oranges, accepted she would never return to her own land, and understood both sides of her river. You were the woman who kept speaking up after receiving the message, you'll lose 6 inches if you don't shut up, when your hut was smashed into millions of pieces and your mother knocked to the floor. You were the woman who kept going, even when those words were hissed at you, making your spine tingle and forcing your eyes wide open. You were the woman who took her parents' hands soothed their fears of leaving the camp after your mother came back from the water tap, spilling rumours that old people would be tricked and ejected from planes over the sea. You are the woman who stepped on that plane, started a new life in a cold place with your children. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. That was brilliant as always, and always a pleasure to know about your work and the lovely poems that you write. Next up, we have Shafiq. Shafiq, are you online with us? And whilst we wait for him to turn off his mic, Shafiq is a Rohingya refugee based in Bangladesh, and he's joining us live from there. Shafiq, can you hear me? Okay, I'm not sure. Hasib, are you online? And then we could, maybe you can read next. I'm not sure my voice is carrying over. Hasib, Rafe, Sarah, are any of you online? I can see you all online. Yes, I think Hasib's coming on. So Hasib too has also contributed to the anthology, and his work has been selected, and he will be reading in Urdu today.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay. Excellent, excellent. And hopefully you can see me too. So, Salam and Adab, everyone, from sunny Florida in America, trying to send you guys some cooler winds, if at all possible. And I really appreciate everyone in Rawanee for giving me the honor of selecting one of my poems. It is in Urdu. Its name is Kis Taraf. So this poem, it means this Kis Taraf it means which direction. In my mind is a meditation on displacement, conscience, and the search for justice. It speaks to those moments when we are caught between a world in turmoil and the quiet voice of our own truth. It asks, in my mind, a timeless question, when every path comes with a cost, which direction do we choose is the question. So, किस तरफ जिस खाक का खुमीर है लौटेंगे उस तरफ मर्जी मगर हवा की है बिखरेंगे किस तरफ वो पूछ ये रहे हैं ना तुमको है जहां अजीज जहां तो हजूर जान है मंजिल है किस तरफ हम अमन की तलाश में निकले थे गांव से जब शहर कहर जैसे हों जाएंगे किस तरफ और जंगलों के कहते हैं कानून होते हैं पर काजी ये चमन तू बता दया है किस तरफ सुन ए रफी के शाम गरीबान दैर गैर तो खुद भी जानता है कि फुरका है किस तरफ देखो हसीब फैसला तेरे हाथ में देखो हसीब फैसला तेरे है हाथ में मंजिल है इस तरफ तो वो जिंदा है उस तरफ बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया थैंक यू सो वेरी मच
Thank you very much, Hasib. I'm just trying to make sure that Shafiq can hear me. Shafiq, you're up next. Can you hear me? Because I know that Shafiq's message in the chat. Okay, let me sort this out now. Sarah and Rafe, are you both ready to read? Okay, Rafe, over to you. Rafe, you can read next, and then we'll have Sarah, and whenever Shafiq joins us, he can start.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Sure. Thank you so much. Again, I'm in sunny eastern side of Canada. Um, I'm reading a couple of poems today. One is an older one, which was when I was living in my city, Karachi, and I was really, if you know what's happening with the city, what is the condition, how it is governed, uh, this literally no one really owns the city, and I mean, it's ruled by people of some other areas who really not, concerned about the city itself. So I wrote this poem about the city. Its name is Orphan City, and it's in Urdu. गो करोड़ों लोग रह रहे हैं, गो करोड़ों लोग रह रहे हैं, मेरा शहर यतीम है, क्या अजाब हम सह रहे हैं, मेरा शहर यतीम है। वो जो ज़हीन लोग थे, उन्हें कुन ज़हन निकल गए, वो जो ज़हीन लोग थे, उन्हें कुन ज़हन निकल गए, अब गिरे पड़े बस कह रहे हैं, मेरा शहर यतीम है। बड़ी नशिस्त छोटे लोग, उस पे तुर्रा हम मसीहा, बड़ी नशिस्त छोटे लोग, उस पे तुर्रा हम मसीहा, हम किस गलाजत में बह रहे हैं, मेरा शहर यतीम है। किसी का माले गनीम हूं मैं, या साईं की जागीर, मेरा घर और ख्वाब ढह रहे हैं, मेरा शहर यतीम है। माले यतीम लुट रहा है, गिरोहे गनीम में बट रहा है, माले यतीम लुट रहा है, गिरोहे गनीम में बट रहा है, हम फिर भी यहाँ रह रहे हैं, मेरा शहर यतीम है। So this was a poem that I wrote some time back. The city of on city of Karachi, which is really in a bad state right now because it's ruled by foreigners who really don't belong to the city, and no one cares about the city. I'll read one more poem. Again, this one was about um work out. Yeah. So I mean, lately, this is a completely different poem in a completely different mood. I have written sometime lately. It's a very new sort of style of poem. I've started writing poetry. More prolifically lately. So it's in a different mood altogether. Its name is mood. Sorry, its name is Wait. It goes like this: one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12. That was the day I bought a packet of flower seeds and a handful of saplings. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. I buried the seeds in the soil, watered the young trees, and waited. 1001, 1002, 1003. Now we have a garden, and the trees have begun to rise. I'm still counting days. I'm still holding on. 2505, 2506. 7 years have passed. I'm still counting. Pain has become our permanent guest, living in our hearts, growing through the flowers, resting on the tips of the trees, echoing in the birds' songs, and drifting with every passing breeze. 3,651, 3,652. 10 years now. We have a garden of roses, yet these sorrowful blooms carry no fragrance. Their thorns have grown heavier, heavier than the petals. Such is this garden. The plants have become a wilderness, a tangled forest where no love survives, a dark haunted place where restless spirits gather to write poems of grief. Their silent, inward falling tears, the only rain these roots have ever known. 7,001, 7,002. I cannot believe I've lived my life on a promise made 20 years ago. But you never came back, my love. I still count the days. My heart has become a wasteland, a wilderness of thorn gardens, untamed forests where every season grows heavier with what never returned. The compost of forgotten hopes is ready now to fill the grave I've carried within me all along. 10,001, 10,002. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Rafe. Shafiq, I think you are with us. Can you hear me?
Good evening, everyone. Assalamu alaikum. Actually, thank you very much for giving this opportunity to me. Thank you, Muniba, madam. And I would like to introduce myself first. My name is Shafiq Rahman. I am a 17-year-old Rohingya poet, writer, and activist. Basically, I am from Myanmar, but now living in the Cox's Bazar Rohingya refugee camp in Bangladesh. Currently, I am pursuing my bachelor degree in computer science at University of the People online. Besides, I entered the era of globalization in poetry and activism from a very young age to restore the rights of my marginalized community, Rohingya. Now I am the author of 2 poetry collections. Additionally, my writings have appeared in international anthologies and literary platforms through which I strive to eliminate the struggles of my people and aspire peace across borders. So now I would like to read one of my winning poem, which won the second prize in Democratic Party of Burma in 2026. So the poem is The Grammar of Survival. Before reading the poem, I would like to describe the poem briefly. So The Grammar of Survival is a free verse poem that explores the contrasts between the abstract idea of peace and the harsh realities of displacement, exile, and survival. Written from the perspective of a refugee, Rohingya refugee, the poem challenges outsiders who discuss suffering from a disdain while overlooking the lived experience of those enduring conflict and statelessness. Through vivid imagery of refugee camps, the sea, fire, and loss, it portrays the emotional burden of carrying trauma even after fleeing violence. Ultimately, the poem is both a testimony of resilience and a declaration of hope by affirming that despite profound loss and uprooting, the human spirit can still strive toward healing, dignity, and right. And now I would like to recite the poem, The Grammar of Survival. The context brochure says, this is a dialogue. It has 5 letters when spelled, 2 syllables when pronounced. Harmony is said to be its twin, but how can this would be felt when my tongue is dry from swallowing dust? You look at me from the outside, busy calculating my sufferings, teaching me my own story from a disdain while I am watched burning alive in the heat of the camp. my skin back under a plastic tap, like raw fish left too long in the midday sun. To ride of peace, I must look at the sea. The world washes the water and sees danger, but I chose to brave the inferno of the roaring waves, because I am only safe where the deep water drowns me, far away from the crocodiles waiting on the shore. They want me to sing a beautiful song of change, but the word never escaped me. I left my home behind to escape the fire, only to find that I brought the burning inside my chest. So I sit beneath a sky that belongs to everyone, gazing up at the clouds to appease my pain, screaming for peace that remains completely out of reach. I am an unmade home, singing to the sky, even if there is no one left to hear. And if peace ever arrives, I will meet it at the shoreline, carrying the fragments of every place I have lost, proving that even a life uprooted by fire can still grow toward the light. Thank you very much. Thank you.
And we have one more online reader before we move on back to music and Ram is taking over. Sarah is also somebody who's been selected for our global anthology. So Sarah, over to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sarah Zahidi. I'm joining from Islamabad, Pakistan. Many congratulations to Muniba and Rawanee for putting this amazing forum together. Thank you so much. I'm truly honored to be here. The poem I wrote is titled Saling Eclogue. It's about discovering divine love written as an eclogue, which is a poem set in the countryside. Saling Valley in Gilgit-Baltistan is the location, and the fish farms that the valley is famous for are the backdrop. I wanted to preserve the feeling of being both one with nature and at the same time transcending it. Saling Eclogue. Rumi said, "Not a single lover would seek union if the beloved were not seeking it." Act 1. Into the Karakorums a weak sun sinks, as I, perched on a slice log bench, observe a seeking new moon descend to water. Flashes of liquid quicksilver rise, kissing mirrory surface, agape with expectation. Of being kissed back, I wonder. Moon's reflection dissolves instantly, as lightning quick trout dart back into a nautical abyss. Mercurial armor hidden from human eye. All night, this play repeats. Act 2. Who knows the secrets whispered to the crescent moon? For what love is this, where lover and beloved vanish at first touch, meeting, dispersing, returning, again yet again? All night I reason, treading flagstone pathways with care, scared lest I slip, unable to swim waters of wisdom. Dazed by dusky twilight, I abandon the ship of intellect, and into the gray-green pools of Saling, I submerge, dissolving self into a vast nothingness. For who truly knows love without feeling it? Act 3. Concealed behind a veil, the beloved calls to lover. Zahir, outwardly manifest, and Batheen, inwardly hidden. Like moon and its reflected light guiding by signs, illuminating the heart. Like a fish drunk on beloved's love, I emerge rippling aqua's veneer. None drown who hold firm beloved's rope. Lovers who understand this language strive for union again yet again. To plumb the depths of meaning once, it is not enough. I am witness to speech I have yet to master. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you. We conclude our online segment now. Thank you, everybody, for the lovely, brilliant readings in person as well as online. And to everyone who supported us over the past years. We've been around for 6 years. It's a global community. We had an editorial team editing in 4 languages for our global anthology with a 20 to 25% selection rate, depending on what language the submissions were received in. It's been very selective. We're very lucky to have voluntary, but extremely qualified editors for the anthology. We also have our Founding Poets anthology that's being launched at the same time. I really want to thank everyone at Kensington Central Library for hosting us and for British Pakistan Foundation for supporting us. I do want to remind you all that we have a wonderful, food caterer who's brought some food along, and it would be lovely if it would be great for you to go and try it out. And now I'm going to hand over to Ramis to lighten up the atmosphere again, and with some wonderful songs. So thanks again, everyone.
I'll just read a few tracks. Visual कर रहा हूँ मतलब कोई एक
So, I have Basaba mixing.
Yeah, man. Yeah, let's do not so easy if that's all right. Not so easy. Yeah.
You can introduce it and then we'll start.
Hello, check. Yeah, it was really wonderful session. And again, I would like to thank Muniba for arranging this, for inviting us. And me, and of course, I would like to thank Makpoor as well for capturing all of these beautiful moments for us. And more so, and the Great Pakistan Society, British Pakistan Foundation for helping us make this happen. Me and Makpoor have come all the way from Manchester for this event today. So this has been a long day for us already. So let's lighten up the mood a bit. And I've got 11 songs out already that are written by myself and performed by me. And we're trying to promote the Urdu music in the United Kingdom, because there isn't much happening at the moment. There's a lot of Punjabi music out there. There's a lot of music in other languages, but pure Urdu music with contemporary beats and the pop sound isn't really out there. So we're trying to do that. So this was one of my most recent releases. Might change the atmosphere of the room as well. This one's called Not So Easy. देखा जो चेहरा तेरा फिर दिल मेरा रोया आंखों में जादू बातों में बचा दीवार ऐसी थी मेरा सफर खुदा आसमान नहीं है तुझको बुलाना छोटी छोटी बातों पे यूं तेरी बुरी आदतों पे चढ़ना तेरा चुके मेरे मन को जा चुकी है तू दास्तां बेचैन दिल है मेरा मुश्किल है यहाँ आसमानी है जिसको रुक रहा है जाने ज़माना So I'd like to call up on stage a really good friend of mine and a fellow musician, singer, songwriter, composer, producer. Please put your hands together for Salman Tawheed. Woo! Right, so we're just towards closing our set now, but इस अगले गाने के लिए I would love for all of you to also engage with us. 'Cause I think most of you would know this. Even if you don't, just go along. Doesn't matter how many people there are, as they say, the show must go on. So we're always louder when we're together. So this one's called Lal Meri Pat. Yo bana chule lal, oh lal meri, oh lal meri pat. Yo bana chule lal, sinjri da, se banda se shafaz karanga. Tamatam mast karandar, kalita pehla number. Tamatam mast karandar, sali shahbaz karandar ho. Lal meri ho, lal meri. Charo sa pira lera, charo sa pira lera. नाथ बचे करे क्या वो बाला चुने नाथ नाथ बचे नाथ बचे करे याद बाला चुने नाथ सेवटा सखी शपथ टमाटर कलंदर सीता पहला नंबर टमाटर मस्त कलंदर सखी शपथ कलंदर हो
चिराग तेरे बदले हमेशा हर चिराग तेरे बदले हमेशा पंजवा में मालन आयो भला झूले लालन पंजवा में मालन पंजवा में मालन आयो भला झूले लालन सिंदड़ी दा सेवण दा सही शहबाज कलंदर मातम मस्त कलंदर सही शहबाज कलंदर अली दम दम ने काल मेरी मुद्दा हरी माला हरी हरी माला हरी मौला मौला हरी मौला हरी मौला मौला हरी मौला तमातम करंदर सची शहबाज करंदर हरी दम दम ने अंदर तमातम करंदर मस्त करंदर ओ नाल मेरी Thank you so much. That was all from us for tonight. Thank you so much. Hope you guys have a really good day. And again, I would like to thank Rawanee, Muliba, and the British Pakistan Foundation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
अब क्या करना है वैसे हाँ खाना खा के चलो इस बात देखने नहीं बैठे
Thank you, everyone.
Assalamu alaikum. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am from the Hungry Twins, a Pakistani stall, and my mom is right over there. Over there. I have to do this. Could you please go and try our food? It's the area right back there. Over there.
Yes, of
Yes,
course.
in the back of the stage. You saw that. No.
Okay. Yes. Now tell us the main things which you are offering in your menu. And also you
We offer stuff. We offer tortillas. We offer chicken, salads, samosas, and more. We have lots of variety of foods. They're very amazing foods you can go and buy from the Hungry Twins. As we said right back there, the reason why it's called the Hungry Twins. Seriously. Okay. So if you could please go to check it out over there.
Yes.
The reason why the name is called the Hungry Twins. We're twins. Yes, we are twins. But we're not hungry. Our mom made that idea. Steven gets the pasta. Stop touching the microphone out of my hand. You stop.
Thank you.
If you have,
I'm just going to live it now.
if you have checked out their food, thank you very much. And also, if you haven't, can you please check it? Also,
You so serious.
Also, my name is Yusuf and my brother name is Saad.
Mohammed Saad.
Saad, and we're both 8 years old.
My name is Mohammed Saad Mirza. Thank you.
My name is Mohammed Yusuf Mirza. And we're 8 years old. Do you have any questions about your age? And why?
Let's go have your food, man.
You suck.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Guys, come on.
Bro, I don't know. Did you have to do that? I didn't.
Where's the mic back?
Where's the mic?
Leave it be. Leave it be. Leave it be. Leave it be. You don't want to.
Okay, bro. Okay.
Yeah, I have the most really yeah. It was always probably I just don't forget. I think you'll stand up and try to see. That's good. I can't bring this. I don't know if the guy had one. Yeah, they invited me this time. I was on yeah. Did you find it? Wow. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I said. It's just work for me. Yeah. Oh, okay, nice. Yeah. Four bounds. There's still this I understand why it's great. Yeah, that's not my yeah, I mean, it's just yeah, so this will be yeah. So there's debate about it. Maybe you can recommend me. I might have to try everyone down next time. Which is just great. Yeah, I might try that. But yeah, that's a bit weird. I think it used to this. But yeah, so following
I'd love to interview a later date that we have like so now just a short video like, hey,
primary school, yeah, we just record they get every yesterday.
If you like to do videos,
so it'll be my third year. Yeah. So it's a great year. I'll look at it. But it's still it's hilarious.
अच्छा जी आपको असाइनमेंट समझ आई है वैसे नहीं अच्छा मुझे हाँ तो ये है कि आप अपने बारे में थोड़ा सा बताएं Best way to explain it, I think.
Okay, so let me think about it.
Yeah.
This is the first time I've ever come to the Rawanee. I
You
hope
guess I like
it's very happy, like poetry recitations and stuff. Like she's doing really good. I know Maniva personally. From my area, yeah. So I know her personally. And she invited me because I started doing this learners and stuff. That's what she was.
Chelsea?
But yeah, even then, like one of the kids breaks the gas. Yeah, so I said he's actually switching his current basketball. It's cool. So I started going across the I showed him he's into my dad. I was like, let me tell you, he's encouraged by the time from the he's like a trophy. And I was like, yeah.
Why is my dad a great influence?
It just comes naturally, like he can antagonize short space of time. And then like, do you know what? I had to admit to him one day, I said, listen, you're one of the most hilarious people I've ever met. So it was just last day, we should go.
That's my take, I'm sorry. Yeah, after. Thank you so much. Assignment आपने सोच लिया, अब क्या बोलना?
So question है.
But yeah, tell me a little about yourself and what's we here.
9 to 10. Yeah.
So I'll first a little bit about myself.
Yeah,
we'll do it in two parts. Is this on?
Yes. If you guys will run, go.
Hi, my name is Sana. I'm the founder of this Learners Speak. I've started an online bilingual channel for kids in which there are short stories, short educational stories for kids in Urdu. I also have screen-free options on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I started this a few months ago and
The series, I don't know if you. Yeah, so I have a school from primary school. It's a boy and a girl in our room. It's not by the guy that holds.
I'm here at this Rawanee, right? I'm here at this Rawanee event.
It's almost like a self thing.
Founded, organized. I'm here at the Rawanee event, organized with Maniva. Yeah.
None of this is sorry.
Yeah. Poets from different places, which are many different places, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Assam, and I don't know many other places. Yeah. Community which
This was like
many points from different places, including not only in Pakistan, but Bangladesh and Gaza and and the community values. What I really like it is that the community values natural expression.
My way of saying.
Social media.
You have my different. Yeah,
And it's nice to kind of do it. It's not seen it.
Sorry.
Yeah.